Oh yes, TJ, just in time, man, just in time. He was a little bit outnumbered there, but it's 3 against 2 tonight. Very, very special show. Welcome back to the Hotspur Hood. The fallout of the North London derby, 2-2. What a game. I think most people can agree. I think Spurs and Arsenal fans, neutrals will agree. It was a fantastic game the other day. Great game, plenty of goals. Plenty of action that took place, loads and loads to get into. Look, if you've watched the channel before and you haven't subscribed, make sure you do. It's sacrilege if you haven't. And if you see these boys here, Johnny and Dan haven't got a YouTube channel of their own, but they're on socials. Anthony, TV, Anthony, Tony, TV. Tony is a long name. Tony,
it's a long one. It's a long one.
You've seen him on the show before. Make sure you follow him. Make sure you get to his YouTube channel. We're going to get everyone fully plugged at the end. And of course, TJ was on just a few weeks ago. He was talking about a transfer window as it was coming to a close. So yes, everyone here has been on the show at least once or twice. So yeah, points shared. Time to introduce the gladiators in full. Dan, how's it going, my friend? Are you happy? Do you feel like we nicked a point, or we should have got 3 the other day?
We should have got 3 easily. First 20 minutes, can't take it away from them. They was all over us. They seemed to go downhill. As soon as Jesus missed that howler of a goal that was harder to miss than it was to score, and as soon as we got our one back, from there it was all us. As soon as they lost Declan Rice as well, they were a minor. I mean, look how they lost the ball in the middle when we took it off them. The mistake we made was taking off Maddison and Son. I get Maddison was half hurt, so he had to come off, but we should not have took Son off. If we'd have kept Son on, I reckon we'd have had that 3-4-2. Second half was all us. 30 minutes of the first half was them. 15 minutes, I called it equal. We definitely had the better game. We went to their ground, expecting to get beat 5-1 if we play it their way. We went to their ground, took it to them, played it their game, and we got a draw out of it when they said we'd get beat 5-1. We should have won that.
Right. I'm going to get down and dirty. These were the starting lineups for the game the other day. I'm not sure if anybody's thought about this, but I'm gonna go to you now, Tony. Who is the best and worst player in each team? Would you say? I know it might be difficult to be the best Spurs player, but Tony, who'd you say best and worst for each side the other day, and why?
See, Tommy, it's clear to see Romero was your worst player. Yeah, but I don't know that many a time, many Tottenham Hotspur fans that I've had intelligent discussions with, I've always heralded this guy. Yeah, even in a combined 11, I was having with a Tottenham Hotspur fan, a mouthy Tottenham Hotspur fan. TJ knows this guy very well. Deji Spurs, yeah, he heralded this guy as one of the best. Yeah,
the next Maldini.
Exactly. He specifically said that Lionel Messi proclaimed this guy as one of the best centre backs in the world. And if you watch that game, the North London derby, come on, man. Cost a penalty, couldn't handle his own, couldn't hold his own, doesn't know how to arrange himself.
Oh, lay off, man. Lay off. Two mistakes is all he made.
Close, man.
That deflection.
Hey, let him talk. Let him talk.
Worst player Romero. Don't worry, Johnny's going to be next. He's next up in terms of best and worst. Who's our best player the other day, Tony?
Romero was the worst because they didn't allow me finish. Yeah, he was the worst guy on the pitch for Tottenham Hotspur. The worst for me on an Arsenal shirt still remains Kai Havertz. Yeah, I would say that Kai Havertz. Yeah, Kai Havertz. Yeah. So that's the question, and those are the answers.
Did you say the worst? Did you say the worst? Yeah.
Yeah, the worst for me was Kai Havertz. When he came on, nothing. Tottenham Hotspur just seized that opportunity to just bounce back in the second half of that game, because when Arsenal kind of like brings in Kai Havertz, it's like Arsenal is just working with just 9 men on the field. Yeah, he's a big problem He's a big problem in my team, and he made my team look worse. And of course, in that second half, rightfully, as the other brother said, Tottenham Hotspurs just took the game to Arsenal, started overrunning us in the middle of the park, and it was just quite easy for them.
Right, two best for you. So you've got
Two
Romero and
best.
Havertz.
Hey, Son on the night. Son on the night. You know what? Yeah, but this guy, yeah, questions about how potent he is. If you check last season, towards the end of last season, is Son still Son? Even Tottenham Hotspur fans began to say, "Hey, you know what? Yeah, Son is finished. I think it's finished." But you know what? He has just answered those questions. He's not finished. He scored a hat trick at Tough Moor. Tough Moor is a very, very difficult place to pull off a hat trick. Yeah, even if they've not actually, gotten a win this season, but it's definitely a hard place to score a hat trick anyway. He got that hat trick. Still questions. He answered in the North London Derby. 2 goals. That's how good Son is on the day. If you give him the chance, he'll punish you. Arsenal gave him the chance, and he punished us. The best player on pitch for Tottenham Hotspurs. Then for Arsenal,
Would you agree? I don't like SofaScore and the ratings they give out of 10. I don't really agree with much of what they say, but they give the man of the match to Saka over both teams. Would you agree?
no, I don't agree. I don't agree. I think Son was the best. I have to be very truthful about that. Saka was good. It was okay, but did he play his game? I don't think he really got into the game totally. He tried his best, but he was the only one, actually pushing for goals. He was the only one actually trying to penetrate, and even in that penetration, it wasn't really that easy. With Doge, I was
Had him in his
I was
pocket.
shocked. I was shocked. Not really in his pocket, but Udogie gave him a very, very good fight in it. So, I can't really say he had his game. And again, you guys were doubling up on him. There were times Bissouma were just doubling up on Bukayo Saka, him and alongside Udogie. It was quite difficult for him to just capture his rhythm in that game, innit?
Doggy had Saka on his own nearly the whole
Right,
game
let's
because
go.
Johnson
Let's
was
go.
up there.
No,
Let's go
Dan,
with
that's
this.
not true.
Doggy had him on his own.
Let's go.
No,
Dan,
no,
that's not
no.
true
He
at all.
was doubled up on. He was
Mate,
doubled up
listen,
on.
listen.
Anytime he
Right,
tried to
I've got
penetrate,
now.
he was doubled up on.
I've come.
Right,
was
let's see. Let's see. I was going to go to Johnny next anyway, so let's see what Johnny has
Go,
to say.
Johnny.
Let's see
go to
what Johnny has to say.
Johnny Twitter.
Right, listen. Let's just quickly address Romero. Claude, just before
Yeah.
we came on, man, you were just saying 5 games isn't a representation of the season. Now you're saying 1 game is a representation of Romero. Come on, yeah, you can't have it.
Romero had gaffes last season, my brother.
Yeah, I'm
He
not
had
talking
gaffes
about last season, man. We're talking about
That's
this
what I'm
season.
talking about. He
I don't
had
live in
gaffes
the
last
past.
season.
You want to live in the past? I don't live in the past. If I lived in the past, I wouldn't have bothered. It wouldn't have been bother us turning up, right? Okay. We had to wait 13 years for our last victory with Yunis Kabul winner, and before that, 17 years before that. So you think I went there expecting anything? You have to go with belief, and this time I went with belief, and hey, they delivered. So Romero, at the end of the day, soft handball, but it's a handball. And as for the cross, if he didn't put anything on it, there was 2 players there waiting to put the ball in the net. So it is what it is. But I'm not going to be running Romero down based on that game. But if we're looking at the game itself, do you know what? I could name many players right in this game. Udogie, right? Listen, we had 7 players there playing their debut in this game, in a North London derby away from home. Okay, it's a lot. Okay, and a lot of them young, 20s. Udogie, to come from the position that he was in, okay, under so much pressure, to come back and more or less nullify Saka. I thought he did
With a
fantastic.
yellow card after 15 minutes, John.
Yeah.
Yellow
20
card.
years of age, right? Making his debut in a North London derby. I thought it was exceptional. to finish as strong as he did. Bissouma didn't start great, But let me tell you, he just got better and better and better. 95th minute, dropped his shoulder and breached Havertz and Odegaard like they weren't there, right? The guy's a beast. He's an animal. Let me tell you, if Rice is 100 million, we couldn't afford Basuma right now if he was for sale. That's for sure. That's for sure.
They wanted him. They wanted him. It was well publicised.
And they wanted Maddison.
2 seasons.
Yeah, so listen, look, so if I'm going for my man of the match, my worst player would have to be Johnson for me, out of our players for me, and maybe Manor Solomon when he came on the pitch. He was quite poor. Best player on the pitch would be a tough one, to be honest with you, between Mickey van der Ven, the keeper.
Van der Ven.
And probably Son and Maddison. It is really, really difficult to choose a player there because the spine of the team were exceptionally good. I found it really difficult, Claude and TJ, to pick our best player of that match. Son did what he did. Maddison, he came back from losing the ball to winning the ball and creating the chance for Son. Son does what he does best, but Mickey van der Ven, man, I mean, oh my God, it looked like he's been playing there forever. He's like a Jan Vertonghen with pace. For Arsenal, I thought the worst player was probably Jorginho. Probably Jorginho.
The silky German.
Huh?
The silky German.
Or Jorginho or Havertz. And your best player, I think Saliba is just
he's world class. He's
an unbelievable
player. He has a shout in it.
I mean,
he will be world class.
Honest, the amount of players that kept bouncing off of Saliba was unbelievable. And he's a superb player. I mean, I wish we had got hold of him. He's an incredible player. Listen,
he will be world class.
I've got to be honest with you. You dominated us. You dominated for that first 30. That press was so intense. Spurs team of last season with Lloris in goal and Dyer, we would have folded. We would have capitulated. Yep. And we came back well after the second goal, the penalty. But when we lost Maddison and Son, we fell off a cliff. And it felt like damage limitation the last 15, 20 minutes. Get the ball to Kulu, try and get him to hold the ball up. But listen, I go away happy with a draw. I really do.
Right, Johnny. So I'm taking Saliba and Van der Ven as the 2 best players. I'm taking Jorginho as your worst. Who was the worst Spurs player?
I'm going to say.
Let's have a look.
Going to say Johnson.
Johnson, of course. Of course, you said Johnson at the start. Yeah. I think
Johnson
he probably should have scored. Raya made it was a good save. It was a good save that Raya made, but I feel like
listen. If I'm really going to go for it, I'm going to have to say Solomon then.
Solomon.
If you really want to make me go? I'll go Solomon over Johnson.
Okay, fair enough. TJ, we've got to mix it up. Back to the Gooners. How did you see the game? And you in agreement with any of the best player, worst players we've heard about so far?
Yeah. So best player for Spurs was Heung-Min Son. I don't even think it's an argument. What a player! What a leader for you guys. Great representation for your club. I can't stand him because he's so good. Like, and I have been talking about Heung-Min Son in my previews all week. Just about how this guy in the number 9 is absolutely dangerous. And I don't know how that's even a question in your fan base that whether or not he should be playing number 9. Are you kidding me? The guy's an absolute stud.
No one's done it in this room.
No, John, he's right. A lot of people that we've spoke to have said he's done and everything. You've claimed, same as I have, and a couple that we know, he's done on the wing. He's our number 9.
No, he needs to be done on the wing. He needs to be done on the wing. But,
he's finished on the wing. That's what I'm saying. He's done. He's finished.
He hasn't got the pace.
He's a number 9 now.
What a play! What a player!
Oh my God! Look at how the narrative have already changed.
What a player!
Tottenham Hotspur fans have said that this guy is dead. That's what they said.
I haven't.
Why are you guys spinning it all over?
Okay.
Why are you guys spinning it as if yeah. But they're spinning it as if it's in the wings is dead, but and said number 9 is good. Oh my God, no. Don't.
We
Listen,
can go
Claude,
back to
I've
that.
said
TJ.
it
Let me
before
just
you
answer
arrived.
the
Yeah,
question.
Claude.
yeah,
You guys can go
TJ.
back-
Yeah, TJ.
You guys can go back to it. Big up Tony though. Yeah, worst player by far. Romero looked lost out there. He might have come back. He regained a little bit in the second half, but he put in a howler in that first half. Did not look comfortable at all. It was a pen. I'm not having the argument. It was a pen. And
I didn't say it wasn't a pen. I said
I know. Some people are. Not you, Johnny. Not you, John.
Yeah. So
I think the big thing that I'm going on these shows with Spurs fans is like, well, Spurs fans, not you guys, but Spurs fans are saying,
TJ, can I just say something, right? And I'm not going to rebut it because I think it's a penalty, right? But what I find incredible is 2 weeks before when we played Man United at home, when the ball was further away, right, and hit him on the hand, they said that wasn't a penalty.
Yeah, I know.
I mean,
I saw that.
I had that debate this morning.
Yeah.
I had that debate this morning, Joe. I think it was because his hand was there. I had the debate with Sava and everyone else this morning who doesn't think it was, and then we all came to an agreement that nobody understands the bloody what's a handball anymore. No one understands.
If it didn't hit his hand, it was going in the net. That's it.
Yeah,
that's how I saw it.
I'm glad you guys agree because natural position though. Anyway, moving on. Worst player for Arsenal. I mean, yeah, you have a couple you could choose from. Jorginho put in an absolute howler. Awful. Vieira, awful. I think rating him a 6.1 was generous.
He spent more time on the floor, didn't he?
Yeah, like a Portuguese scarecrow. The guy is
in general, because I know he started against Everton as well. Do you rate him?
He played well against Everton. I think he needs to be coming off the bench, and we need to be taking a serious look at Emile Smith-Rowe. I do not understand what this guy needs to do to get a start or to get a sniff. Like Kai Havertz is awful. 007, one of our worst signings in recent memory. And people are still out there making excuses for this guy.
Well, along with all the other Chelsea players that you bought as well, and still ain't learned your lesson.
And Dan, are we picking up on a pattern here, Dan? That's my question. Are we picking up on a pattern? Anyway,
it looks it.
What if he turns it round, TJ? What if he turns it round?
Then you can clip this, Johnny, and play it on one of your Twitter spaces. I'll be there. Okay. You clip this. He turns it around.
Oh, no, I don't
TJ
clip.
in the mud.
I don't clip. It's a genuine question. It's a genuine question because listen, look. I mean,
Mate,
I said Porro couldn't defend when we signed him before he played a single game, and I said batten down the hatches, and sure enough, first game against Leicester, he was horrific, and he carried on to be horrific. But this season, he's got better and better and better, and apart from letting Jesus in. Early doors for that shot that somehow Vicario saved. He had a really good game. But, sometimes players can spin it round.
I hope for the sake of this team and the sake of Arteta's career that he does, because if not, this is going to be a big black eye on Arteta's record. Right now, it's looking like a horrible signing. The only reason that this is like this signing and the Mount signing, I think, are the two worst signings of the window. I think that's going away. And the only reason you're not hearing about Mount right now is because he's been injured. But anyway, we'll get back.
It's got to be the money involved as well because they weren't
it's cheap. The money, yeah, it's the returns. So you go back and look. We had the opportunity to be in on James Maddison, and value for money, he is the best transfer of the past window. Unbelievable! What a player! Again, and I'll get to mudding you guys soon, but I got to compliment freaking James Maddison is arguably the best number 8 in the league right now. Unbelievable player.
How comes you never signed a spy?
But TJ, I think we still have to give that time. Let's see him. Let's see him get some games
for 3 years. I've seen Havertz for 3 years. I've seen enough.
I know, but it's just 5 games. Let's wait. Let's see his injury record.
7 games now, Tony. 7 games.
No, I'm in the league. How many games in the league?
Six
Is it
Six in the league, 7 overall.
Keep up, Tony. Keep up.
Tony,
Yeah.
Tony,
Okay, good. Okay,
Tony,
good.
he didn't do anything against PSV either.
No.
Let's
I'm
be
saying
real.
Madison. I'm talking of James.
Oh,
Madison.
you're talking about Madison. No,
Madison's been doing
about
it for
Madison.
3 years.
I'm saying
Leicester too. He
James
was their
Madison.
second leading scorer.
Yeah, I get that, but let's give him more games. Let's wait because you just said it's probably, you just said it's probably maybe the best signing this season. But let's see about that. Let's see about his injury record, because I still think James Madison has injury concerns. Can he do it on a consistent basis? Let's see. We have to know. Yeah, he's a ball player. Of course, he could score goals for you from his position. He
Worse than
does that. He
Partey's
does that quite
injuries.
well. But again, let's see how he does with his injury record, because I think he has a checkered injury record, and that's why many other teams didn't go in for him as hard as Tottenham Hotspurs went in for him.
Yeah,
but again, let's see.
We got to look at our injury record too. All right, let me just get through my last man of the match. Man of the match going away for Arsenal was Saka. He was a player. I don't think he was man of the match overall. I think that has to go to Son. But yeah, no. So Saka best, worst. I'm gonna give it to I'm gonna give it to Fabio Vieira. I thought he was horrible.
We've got for 3 separate centre mids. We've had 3 separate centre mids. Jorginho,
No, our midfield was crap. You guys won the midfield battle. We were like, and if we're being honest, the balance of play was very, very balanced. But we lost. We were expected to win and we drew. That is like a loss to us. I've been devastated. I've been devastated. The last 48 hours have not been fun for me, especially on this freaking platform. But it's one of those things where if you look at it from a neutral's point of view, neither team really dominated. There were passages to play where teams dominated, like first 30 minutes of the game, we dominated. Middle 30 minutes of the game, you dominated. The end, we traded off there a little bit. After Son came off, we were putting the pressure on, but we just couldn't finish.
But tell me something, when Romero was so bad, being easily the worst player on the pitch, right? Horrific he was. How comes you couldn't put the ball in the net?
We couldn't finish. No, we didn't take our chances. I
didn't finish it.
Gabriel Jesus didn't take his chance.
Gabriel Jesus, Eddie Nketiah on the side. People are talking about Eddie Nketiah.
To be fair, Johnny, their goal was an own goal by Romero, and the penalty was given away by Romero.
Yeah.
So
like honestly,
I mean,
Dan, you're on mute, my friend. I don't know if he's.
You got 2 goals. Listen, Romero gave you 2 goals. To be honest with you, you should have given him man of the frigging match, right? For you, right? Because both goals came from him. But listen, guys, you know what? You should be rejoicing because you're looking at it all the wrong way. Because your ego is so big, you come in this and look like it's a 2 points lost. You should be looking at it. It's a point gained against a really good team.
Johnny, I know you like looking at very early on in the season. I respect that. Because you're only as good as your last game. I agree. You're only as good as your last game.
Yeah.
And the transfer window, a lot of things change in the transfer window. But Arsenal, looking at it last season, they nearly won the league. We finished 8th. Yeah, so they're looking at it. They beat us twice last season. So they're looking at it like this. It should be, this should be 3 points.
Yep.
They did not nearly win that league.
You proved them wrong.
They did not nearly win that league. All they done was keep it hot for Man City, who didn't even get out of second gear while Arsenal were raging off in 5th gear. And then when it comes to the actual game that mattered, where they thought they were too big for themselves, they bottled it. And then they had to play City, and it got to the point where City's striker got a grilling for not scoring. So he took off his hairband, shook his head, and then put it in the back of the net. They had a good season, don't get me wrong, but they weren't giving City a run for the title. Never. Liverpool were the only ones who've done it and given them a run for the title to the last day where it mattered on the point. Arsenal were gone with 4 games left.
Right. So quickly, Dan, before we get into Arteta and Ange, because that's a very, very interesting debate. Our new manager, the manager of 4 years at Arsenal now. He's been at Arsenal for 4 years now. Who do you rate as the 2 best players, 2 worst players for you, Dan? Before we move on.
The thing is, the worst players, it's hard to say. I thought Johnson actually had an all right game, considering it was his first game for Spurs, and it was.
To be honest with you, Dan, I forgot he played. When Johnny said that, I actually forgot he played. Other than seeing the line.
He was poor, man. He was poor, and he's one tracking back. The tracking back for Ben White when he first finally tracked Ben White back, he fucked up the doji by taking the player and cut across him instead
That
of going
first
around,
goal was shocking.
Yeah.
It was. I think when Solomon come on, he was awful. I don't think
Yeah.
he'd done nothing at
Shocking.
all. But apart from Solomon, I can't really say anyone at Spurs played bad. I think the thing that makes Romero look bad is where two things it didn't go his way. If he didn't put his foot out, there was two Arsenal players sitting there. But then again, if it was Jesus and Nketiah sitting there, they'd have probably gone tits up anyway. I mean, neither of them are good strikers. No one can tell me Jesus is a good striker. No one.
He's one of the best pressers. He's one of the best.
Jesus
but he's not a good striker.
False nine. He's not an out and out striker. I will give you that.
He's a false nine.
He's one of the best pressers in the game. He's one of the best.
But as a striker, but he is not a good striker.
We're crying out for an out and out striker. And me and
as
Tony
a full striker, he's very good.
You got to be going for Ivan.
Yeah, we have to be in on Ivan Toney, otherwise it's
I think there were two biggest. I think me and TJ and all of us, we were talking about a transfer window. The biggest miss for Spurs for me was probably another centre back. We're gonna pay the price if Van der Ven or Romero get injured. And for Arsenal, I'm looking at the strikers and I'm thinking, why again have you not signed a striker? I'm so happy you haven't signed a striker. But Nketiah is just not it. I know they give Nketiah 100 grand a week, but I'm like, well, as soon as I see him on the team sheet, I'm delighted. I'm absolutely delighted.
No, because nothing's gonna happen. We're gonna be anemic. We're gonna be nothing up front. Nothing. We are dull, awful.
Yeah.
I'm not happy with Arsenal right now. Like I'm not gonna try to put lipstick on that pig that was Sunday. Like that was brutal to watch.
Why didn't you keep Balogun?
lipstick on the pig. I like it.
Balogun wanted assurances, and of course, when you're with Mikel Arteta, he doesn't give you that assurances as a player. So of course, he had to go search for fortunes elsewhere. Dan was talking about Gabriel Jesus, as a striker for Arsenal. See,
he's not a striker.
I know you, but again, you also have to remember that this is a serial winner with Manchester City. Yeah, before we throw dust on.
He wasn't even a striker at Man City, was he?
I'm
not saying he's a bad player. I'm saying he is
good. I just only wanted to get that. I only wanted to get that off.
False nine, he's good, and they always used to play him as false nine for Liverpool because he done good.
And again, he's not even playing as a striker for Arsenal. That's it. He's always the one linking up play. He's the number 9 that we have, of course, on the shirt, but technically that's not the position he plays. He does all the whole linking up, bringing and linking up all our attacking assets together, and he's nowhere near the 18-yard box to even score a goal. So that's a bigger problem that Arsenal have.
Tony, Tony, do you agree that you should have signed another number 9, a number 9 in the summer?
Definitely. Me and TJ have been banging on this point all through last season. This season, we've been saying the same thing, and I really hope that we'll just go to the transfer window by January and go get Ivan Toney, who is available for about £60 million. If we can bring this guy, he can assure us of 20-25 goals in a season, and then we can carry on from there. But anything less than that by January, I'm sorry, we're screwed, because you can see chance after chance after chance begging to be scored in the Not London Derby. Eddie Nketiah, just look at him, -1, just running around the pitch like a headless chicken. We have Gabriel Jesus, who also fluffed his lines in one of those goals. It was gaping. It was there. It was there for the taking. You guys should have taken at least up to 4 goals on the day. But again, Gabriel Jesus is never a striker. He has never been a striker. And I don't think he's a striker for Arsenal. He's a link-up play forward for Arsenal.
It's a big miss. I think it's a big miss not signing number 9. Havertz. Maybe Arteta saw Havertz as a number 9 because he was a number 9 for Chelsea. But if that's the case, then that's that really is shocking.
That's a really bad hope for 12th place Chelsea. He scored 7 goals in 30 competitions. Or 7 goals in 30 competitions.
To be fair, he had very, very good pedigree before he showed up. He was magnificent.
I know, and he's been eating off that championship goal and is Bundesliga Bundesliga CV for a long time. I'm tired of hearing it. I've seen enough in the Premier League. I've seen enough.
What about the elephant in the room, Tommy?
Huh?
We mentioned him, but no one's spoken about him. How the fuck was he still on the pitch?
Oh, Nketiah.
Yeah.
Nketiah? Oh yeah,
That
no,
was a
I
red
agree with you.
card,
I
man.
don't know. I don't understand. We have a
I
lack
don't
of
understand his
we have
referee.
a lack of options. We have a lack.
No,
of
no,
options.
the sending off. The sending off. But
He missed him by an
sending
inch.
off.
If that would have hit him,
missed that
Man,
one.
that-
Missed that one.
He
if that would have
got a
hit
yellow.
him,
That was a
that
yellow.
would have ended his career. That was a career-ending
Honestly,
tackle. That
I've
one.
never
He
seen
missed him by an inch.
And it's not. Listen, this is sorry,
Ifs and
Dan.
buts. Was a yellow.
This is not about Spurs Arsenal. This is about.
No.
I'm not bringing this up because Spurs
Yeah,
Arsenal.
I feel that was a red card actually.
VAR,
Easy.
man. I mean,
Easy.
Ian Wright said that's a red card, man. It's not even in question.
He didn't-
I don't
I agree.
understand what these guys all week. You all the Arsenal fans were going on. Paul Tierney. I thought Paul Tierney was the ref, and when I looked it up, oh no. He's getting grief all week. I looked it up on Friday. No, he's not referee. He's in the VAR room. And lo and behold, he's getting grief for Arsenal fans all week. He's in the VAR room. He sees that. And he doesn't even alert the referee. I don't understand what they're doing in there, where they're having tea and biscuits and they're looking at the screen now and again. But it didn't matter whether it was a Gooner or a Spurs player.
Yeah.
That stuff is just crazy, man. I don't
Do
get it.
If
I
it was
agree
an
with-
inch away, John, if that would have hit him, that is a career-ending tackle. That
His
one.
leg was up like that.
It is.
I know
it
his
is.
studs
it is.
was up.
He didn't
in the
hit him
bloody
though.
air.
That's why it wasn't a red. It's that simple.
Yeah, but even that you attempt to do a tackle like that on a goalkeeper of all things, when the goalkeeper
was
didn't even have
contact.
the ball.
I think the challenge was stupid, but if you're going by the law of the land, yeah, it was a yellow, and if he had spiked him, it would have been a straight red.
Yeah, I
3
suppose
games,
you
you're
can
done.
argue-
You mean
You
if
can
he'd
argue
have
the same
broken
with
his leg?
Carlton.
If he'd have broken his leg, then that would have been dangerous.
Yeah,
play.
ifs and buts, Johnny. That's the thing. It's ifs and buts, man. That isn't what happened.
There was
And-
contact. There was contact.
There was contact.
There
No,
was
I'm not debating that
contact. There was contact.
with his
Contact
knee.
was there.
There was not contact with the studs, which is why it
No.
wasn't a red.
By the time,
Yeah, I
he
agree.
contacted him, right, the
I
game
agree.
was over. That's how late he was.
No, if that made contact on that,
Exactly. But again, I think the intent.
I think it was
of
a
that
terrible
challenge,
tackle, but it wasn't a
The
red.
intent alone of that challenge.
I agree.
I had red cards
You would sort of want
swarming
Nketiah
all
off.
over it. The
I
intent
think you
was
boys sort of
horrible.
want Nketiah off, so
I'm
you
sorry.
don't have to play.
I'm a gooner, but I have to be very truthful on this one. Even me, I was doing that watch along. I thought it was a red card.
I mean, it's safe to say I've never been a fan of Eric Dyer, but I would be looking at. I would put Nketiah, if I was an Arsenal fan, in the same sort of box as Eric Dyer. I just wouldn't want him at all. I would have much preferred Balogun or.
I think he has some blackmail on Arteta or something. I don't know how this guy.
He scored a couple of goals. He scored a couple of goals when you were fighting for top 4 with us, and we beat you to it a couple of years
Yeah, I
ago.
know. No, he brought us. And I don't mean to sound like my buddy Lee Gunner here, but we put him in, and then he brought us from 4th to 5th. So.
But again, Tommy, yeah. But again, see, it's someone like TJ, yeah. When you asked him that question about Eddie Nketiah, he could have taken the easy way, the easy route out. We had injured players. We had forwards who were injured. We didn't have lots of options. But one thing I've noticed is that Arsenal fans haven't taken to that, route and say, hey, we had injuries on the day. Thomas Partey was injured. Martinelli injured. Trossard injured. We have all these injuries in the team.
Timber
And,
injured.
of course, and there's a big wigs in our team. Yeah.
We will get onto
Literally,
that.
if we had those guys on the pitch, it would have been a more different game. So
We're
We
definitely
lost
going to get
Harry
onto the
Kane.
injury situation in a second. But Dan, who are the 2 best players? Finally, because I want you to have your say before we move on.
For Spurs and Arsenal. For me,
Son man of the match, Maddison.
no. The reason I don't go for Son, don't get me wrong, what Son done was quality, yeah. But I feel too many strikers get man of the match because they scored a goal. People don't look at who set the thing up. I mean, that pass by Maddison was pinpoint accuracy. And don't get me wrong, that finishing from Son was cold. End of. But for me, man of the match had to be VDV. Why? Because that was his first London derby. He's only been playing in the Premiership
100%.
like a month or two, and he basically bossed that defence. He didn't lose his cool at any time and he had a very good game. And I'd say the best player for Arsenal, do you know what? It's a tricky question because, honest to God, I don't think none of them actually lived up to standards. I really
I
don't.
can agree
Not
with
their own
that.
standards. I really don't. And that's not being a Spurs fan, I'm trying to be realistic here. I don't think none of them exactly had a good game.
I think a lot of Saliba. I think you'd have to look at Saliba.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't think of that one. Saliba, for me, I think give him another season, he's going to be world class. Season after that, he's going to be. He's going to be. I don't think he's world class yet, but I think world class is used too easy. Give him another season, that man is going to be one of the top 3 defenders on the planet, and Man City are going to say thank you, come again, or Real Madrid are just going to snap him up.
Personally, actually, before I give my say, I want to say big up. We've got a lot of regulars that are just coming in the chat now. If you haven't smashed a like, please do so. I can see we've got 34 people watching. Smash a like. We're not on 20 likes yet, and we're on the road to 3K. So if you have not subbed, then make sure you do. We're going to get everyone plugged here as well. We've got some fantastic guests. Going to get a lot more fiery, I can assure you. Going to get a lot more fiery, so stay tuned. Right. So, yeah, Romero and Basuma in the first half for me were shocking. It wasn't just what I've seen with Romero last season is 1 out of every 3 or 4 games, he gets really lethargic on the ball as well. Like 2 games, he's fantastic. 2 or 3 games, he's really good. And he plays brave passes. He's not a great passer like Toby Alderweireld or centre-backs that are long-range passers, but he's a brave passer. He comes out of the back line. So he's actually good with the ball at times. But it was very, very lethargic. And that gets to him. When that gets to him, it affects his performance. So I think on the ball, he wasn't very good. Obviously,
he's inconsistent, isn't he?
The own goal you can't do a lot about. And the penalty, for me, it was a penalty, but there's not a great deal we could have done about that. But just in open play in general, I think he was probably the worst player in the pitch. Basuma recovered, certainly. It's weird because Basuma and Udogie, when they got the yellow cards, they both improved dramatically. Basuma and Udogie, straight after they got the yellow cards, because I think Udogie was fantastic.
I mean, Tom,
easily got sent off. I think it was fantastic.
For me, you know, I think Basuma is the best player we got, hands down. Easy. He's one of those players like a Carrick or a Rice or whatever. You notice him more when he's not on the pitch than when he's on the pitch, even. And for me, he had a good game, but it definitely weren't one of his best. The other 4 he's just had to been better. Yeah,
second half,
but it wasn't. But it was not his best game. That is all I'm saying.
I think in the first half,
but it weren't his best game.
I think in the first half, we don't want Maddison in that position. I was talking to a few mates as we was watching. We don't want Maddison even in that position to make that error, where Cages could have got through and scored 2-0. Maddison was doing what Kane done for a few years, coming deeper. And we see Maddison keep doing it. And I think a lot of that was to do with the midfield wasn't up to standards.
No, that was the plan, Dan. That was the plan.
In the first 30, 35 minutes, I don't think if that's the plan, then that was an absolute shock up from Maddison.
Well, because
to give the ball away there.
But the only other time he's done that, Tommy, was against Bournemouth when he started the first 60 minutes, where he was picking the ball up every time in his own half. Right, most of the passing was coming from deep. So certain games he's going to do that. He's going to mix it up. See what he does. He might not change the formation and the will to win and the will to pass the ball forward, but he makes little subtle tweaks. You know?
But personally, I don't want him there. I want Maddison in the last third. He's the only one that can get through balls in. So I want Maddison in the last third at all costs. I think we need.
Depends what game, right?
Yeah, but John, that mess up he made could have cost us that game. Simple way.
We would have been 2-0 down.
Might have been great, but that mess.
What did you notice, Dan? What I thought was incredible was like everyone who made a mistake, there was no one pointing the finger. There was no fucking Eric Dyer going, shouting and pointing and screaming, right? We go on, we go again, right?
Yeah,
no one, everyone was supporting everyone. Whereas, you know, TJ and Claude, right, man, we've spent the last 4 years, everyone bitching during the game, pointing fingers, arguing, right? And it's like self-implode, collapsing every single game. These guys were behind each other, right? And that's why we saw it through. Last season, right, we had no way we were winning that game. Not a chance. Or even drawing. Not even drawing.
I agree.
But even on the good points, whether you like it or not, someone's got to be devil's advocate, and you've got to pick out the bad points as well. You can't just talk all about the good. He nearly cost us that game. If Jesus wouldn't have been so crap at bloody shooting an open goal, nearly an open goal, that would have cost us the game more than likely.
Yeah,
he should not have been back there dealing with that. That should have been Basuma back there dealing with that.
I just want to big up. I need to big up a couple of people in the chat. First of all, WTP, good friend of mine's been giving me a lot of grief about my haircut today. Smash a like if you think Tommy looks like Ning the Merciless from Flash Gordon. So yes, make sure you do that. if you do think that's the case.
I can't
Guguma,
believe it.
Guguma's put a super sticker on. I had a fresh shave, believe it or not. Turkish barbers don't mess about.
Hey,
Guguma, thank you ever so much for the super sticker. Always very, very generous. As you can see, Guguma, it's not just Spurs. It's the North London Derby fallout. So we've got Tony Claude, we've got TJ on as well. And as I said, it may get a lot deeper shortly. I'm trying to stay as biased as possible here. So a lot of regulars in. So thanks ever so much for joining us. Jorginho, worst player for me at Arsenal. That era, it did cost them, didn't it? The era,
Yeah.
And it was I think the reaction coming so quickly. I was just getting ready. I went to get a beer, sat down, and we scored. So I couldn't believe it. I didn't think Arsenal were capable of messing up like that.
Still celebrating, weren't they?
The reason I say that is because Saliba is magnificent. I think your defense is very good. Ben White and Zinchenko are not the greatest going forward, but I tell you what, I wouldn't want to play.
Zinchenko was great going forward.
He was yesterday, but I don't think he's. I think if you're looking at both sides, I think we've got the more attacking, quality fullbacks in the attack. But it's not just about the attack.
Yeah, because you guys play actual wing backs. We play inverted left backs.
Well, we play
Zinchenko is the exact
but again,
Zinchenko and Jesus. You sign Zinchenko and Jesus because of the fact that they're serial winners. That's one of the biggest errors we haven't done over a long time. We don't buy serial winners, and for me, that's that is an issue. So
did you think Agent Orange had a good game?
Who's that?
Agent Orange.
Agent Orange? Who's that?
Yeah, Ben White.
What one's that?
I thought we'd done all right.
I don't think he had a bad game. I think Ben White is actually a solid one.
I don't think our left-hand side done a great deal, to be honest, did they?
At all. Ben White. See, that shouldn't even be in the question at all. Ben White had a good game. The person who for me didn't have a good game was Zinchenko, because I thought that Kulusevski. I saw Kulusevski take Zinchenko on lots of times and got at the end of him. Yeah, Zinchenko just was out of position. In him, that I saw him in that game. Kulusevski, just ran him ragged at the opportunities he had at him. So he didn't really look good. But Ben White on the day was okay. At least most of the balls were being walked out towards that right back area. In it.
Respectfully, Tony, I couldn't disagree with what is happening. What you guys are talking about more. I think White did not play a very good game. He was half at fault for that goal, that first goal too. He didn't get the ball out. Rice didn't necessarily play very well either. You got to clear those balls in the box like that, and he didn't do it. We had two opportunities to do that on that Son goal, and we didn't. White had a chance, cleared it to the edge of the box, put it in. Rice had a chance to head it out. He couldn't do it. It's those little errors that will cost you guys. And honestly, I don't think Kulusevski really did anything. Like if you look,
he held the ball.
What?
He held the
ball.
He
held the ball.
He wasn't like cutting in though. That's the thing. That's the thing that I'm kind of saying. And yeah, I'll give VDV his flowers, but I don't think I don't think Ben White needs to hold responsibility for the loss for the draw.
Do you think Ben White's better as a centre back or a right back? Because I actually think he's better as a right back than a centre back.
He's definitely better as a right back. I'm not arguing that point. But
and he's actually meant to be a centre back.
Yesterday he did not play that well. That's all I'm saying. He did not.
I mean, it's interesting because Kulu, I've been his biggest critic playing out on the right hand side, hugging that touchline. I don't believe it's his best position. But yesterday, in the last 20 minutes, if it hadn't been for him, we would have struggled because they kept getting the ball out to him. He was holding that ball up and carrying the ball and relieving a lot of the pressure that you guys were putting on once Maddison and Son got off. I thought
he had two Arsenal players on him at one time, and he basically just pushed them both aside and got the ball through and down the middle.
Great upper body strength he has.
And a couple of players not many people are talking about, because I'll tell you what, they did make some serious, two very good saves from both keepers. Raya, the Brennan Johnson, you could say
that
sort of missed, but still did very well there. And Vicario, the one that he put round the post, which was very difficult to see. So when I was looking at man of the match, I'm looking at Vicario, Maddison and Son for us. I think I'll probably overlook Van der Ven a little bit, but then I looked at the Arsenal strike force and I'm not impressed with it at all. So I'm really not impressed with it at all. So I thought Van der Ven was, look, I think Van der Ven's got everything. I mean, some of the pace, some of the explosive pace he showed even yesterday was magnificent.
And statistically, and Kulusevski also helped you guys to keep possession of the ball. The person that said that
So
was actually very, very correct. Do you know the ball possession in the first half? The ball possession, was about 58-42. That was how huge that gap was at the end of the day. And in the second half, it was about 58. To Arsenal 40. I think Arsenal was Arsenal 47. Then Tottenham Hotspurs was around 53. That ended the match. That was the
Do you know that was the most possession we've had?
And I did feel that Kulusevski kept possession of the ball. He helped you guys out a little bit. So
I thought Kulu had a decent game. I thought he'd done okay. I think he had a decent.
He had a decent game. He had a decent game.
He done what he was meant to do.
Nothing spectacular. Nothing spectacular. You wouldn't put him in the bracket of one of the best players on the pitch, but I think he had a pretty decent game. But Saliba, I have to agree. I'm glad the Spurs fans agree with this as well. Saliba is a monster. Yeah. He is an absolute monster. He was unbelievable in the French league the season before as well. He got in the 11 of the season, the French league, and I think he got defender of the season for Marseille as well, which is difficult in a league where you got PSG who just dominate. And then last season, just magnificent. Very different to Romero. Him and Romero together would be magnificent. They would be unbelievable. You got an aggressor, an absolute aggressor, and you got somebody that's so comfortable deep, leaving the ball in Saliba. The amount of times I see him leave balls that come over his head and his physical strength, he can just direct it out without the attacker touching it. Those two together could be something spectacular. But Saliba, top player. He was man of the match for me for Arsenal yesterday. Now, Arteta and Ange, who won? Who won out of the managers yesterday? I don't. Looking at the subs, did a manager win yesterday? Looking at the lineups and the substitutions, did a manager stand out for you, Dan? One was very. Let's say one was very expressive on the touchline.
Yeah, Maddison had to come off because we didn't want to risk his knee. Yeah, smart move. But why he took Son off, I will never ever know. I don't think that. I thought that was a bit of a mistake he made there. But the one who definitely got made to look the mug in it was definitely Arteta for some of the decisions he made, like bringing on Havertz and other decisions he made. Like, what was the point of bringing on Smith Rowe for what? All of 3 minutes, if that? And the way he stands about giving it all and everything and that, I think he took that game for granted. Same as a lot of Arsenal supporters and same as Arsenal have a bad habit of doing themselves, of being complacent. And they do. And they did, and it showed. He was not Arsenal did not like what happened. Arsenal are only used to two teams coming at them, and that is City and Liverpool. They ain't used to having a team running at them, and they don't like it because they don't usually have to deal with it. I think Ange definitely. You can't say he was worse than Arteta with it because Arteta he got it tits up basically. He got it wrong.
Tony, would you agree with that? Would you agree with that, Tony? Would you agree with what Dan said there?
No. I don't agree with that. I thought your coach won it hands down. I'm sorry. I have to be very real here. I know this is a kind of Arsenal versus Spurs stuff, but I'm sorry. I have to be very real here. Yeah, I thought Ange won. I do agree with him. I do agree with him that you guys came at us, in a very, very uncomfortable way for Arsenal. We never thought you guys would come up and run up over us like that. I thought that Ange would just do the sensible thing, keep a low block, catch Arsenal at the counter attack, and just catch us slipping. But no, in the first half, I saw Son running at us, Kulusevski running at us, trying to press the ball. It was that mad. The energy was crazy. I was in shock. Is this sports? So I thought Ange won hands down. And again, if you check the substitutions, my manager ejected Gabriel Jesus, the only one actually trying to run things, link up play, and create the show.
Why he took him off instead of
took him off, brought a toothless Kai Havertz. I was in shock at what was going on. I was in shock. Eddie Nketiah was in that game for over 100 minutes. What the hell is happening here? Everything was wrong. Everything
should
was
not
wrong.
have took Son off for bloody Richarlison.
It doesn't matter. Son was running
shouldn't
his.
have done
See,
it. He
it's
shouldn't
not
have took
easy.
Son off.
Son was running his socks off. Son was running his socks off. He was doing lots of defensive duties. Also, it's not easy in a not London derby running those channels. He also helped defensively. So you should give him a little bit of, a little bit of rest. And again, you don't have to expend all your energy in the not London derby in it, because you never know with injuries. Maddison had to make way. Son had to make way. You have more bigger fish to fry. This is just like a trophy.
I would not have took Son off.
This is just like a win.
This
This is just like a win for Tottenham Hotspurs. It's like a win.
No.
It's like a win. I'm sorry. It's like a win. And that's why many of your fan base are very happy with what happened. It's just like a win. I give it to you. I give it to you. It's a win.
So I have to interrupt Tony. We're going to ask Johnny next time as well. So thank you ever so much again, Guguma. Another regular that I haven't seen for a little while, Scotty M says, when you have two mediocre or worse managers, it isn't surprising that neither stood out.
What a
Scotty M is more on the definitely controversial side. Leave you outside of Spurs fans, that's for sure. So quite a statement there. We've got Brian Daigle in the chat. Big up, Mr. Brian Daigle. How's it going, my friend? We got
Brian had a good trip today. Brian was down at the Spurs training ground today. I'm glad he got out safely, because I was worried that they would bury him and whack a headstone on him. But he managed to get out.
We've got C Cubed in the chat. We've got C Cubed in the chat. Hi, C Cubed. How are you doing? Hotspur, another fellow YouTube streamer that's been on this channel loads of times. Big up, Hotspur. Make sure you subscribe to Tottenham on Tour, Brian Daigle Show, Hotspur TV. Make sure you subscribe to these channels. And please make sure you subscribe here. You get a lot of people watching, and some people don't subscribe. It's sacrilege. Hit the sub button on the road to 3K. And, of course, smash that like. We've got 42 people watching, only 25 likes. It's free. It's completely free. Right, I was going to mention Romero penalty, but I won't. I will get to Johnny. Ange, it seems like Dan is making a case for Ange being the worst manager.
No,
Tony,
no.
He was Arteta being the worst manager. Johnny, over to you.
Look, he made a mistake.
Let me just tell you, right? I can't bear, and it has nothing to do with it. I've never disrespected an Arsenal manager. I respected Arsene Wenger, unbelievable. Even good evening, right? Even good evening, right? But I got to tell you, I cannot bear Lego head, right? I cannot bear it. Okay, he just has no class. He has no class. I'm looking at, the one thing I can't understand is I've lost count how many times I've seen Arteta almost on the pitch. A player's running past and he's in their face, right? There's a technical area, right? I don't want to see. I can't show you here, but I've got a load of videos of him literally almost on the pitch, right? And that question that he was asked last week, what was it? So does that mean now that Raya is your number one? Right? It was a genuine question by the guy. No, I've got 11 players. Do you want to talk about all my other numbers? Right? It was disrespectful. He's disrespectful. I thought Ange acted with some class. The way they were celebrating, he celebrated.
He kept his head level.
But let's look at the mistakes. I agree with Dan that it was surprising that Son came off, but I've got to say, Dan, he was gubbed. He was absolutely gubbed, Son. And as Tony was saying, he was pressing from the front, he was pressing from the back, and I think his legs had gone, right? He was gone. The other one, obviously.
Would you have taken him off?
Maddison had to come off.
Johnny,
I think
asked
he was
this question.
gone.
Would you have taken him off in the North London derby? You're on a hat trick. Would you have taken him off at that time?
Well, listen, I think let me tell you, I think that 34 pass move where Porro just failed to deliver that final pass for that, what would have been his hat trick, and I think he would have buried it. He was gone. I thought he was really, really tired. You could see, I was watching him and he looked tired. Did I expect him to come off? No, because I thought he could go to the end, but maybe Ange thought he couldn't. But we had a massive drop-off after that, really huge drop-off. So, that was what I would say was probably not right. Was it a good call to put Johnson on from the start? I've got to say, I think it was a very brave call to put Johnson on for his debut in that Inferno. So I give him props for bravery, but I'm not sure that taking Son off, unless he was absolutely gassed out, he should have come off. As for Arteta,
he didn't look like he wanted to come off.
I think he was tired, man. I think he was tired. I think he was tired.
It's more than possible.
I'm with Tony on that one. If you saw how much he was pressing, front and back, he was so fired up, he's probably burnt out energy. But as for Arteta, I think for Arteta, listen, what do you do when you lose Declan Rice? You know, it's a huge loss. Jorginho and Vieira, I think he just got it wrong. I really do think he got some of the tactics wrong. I thought we were there for the taking that last 15, 20 minutes. I thought we were really struggling after Son and what's name went off. Thankfully, Højbjerg came on and tried to steady the ship and, you know, add some experience. But I think you could have set up your formation a little different. But I think he was worried that we would nick another goal on the break. So
that 10 minutes extra time was sweaty. I'll give it that. It was a bit. But I think that showed something for what it really was. And in that last 10 minutes of extra time, yeah, we were sitting back. And Odegaard, who's he? I didn't even hear his name in the second half.
Did you see what I said before? Bissouma, 95th minute. Watch it back, right? He drops his shoulder. He drops his shoulder and rounds Odegaard and Havertz like they weren't there. It was
that last 10 minutes, the amount of corners they had and everything and that, and one of them should have been in where they didn't have no players at the bloody back post, like a normal striker would hang around.
Yeah.
Those 10 minutes, I'll agree with you. Them last 10 minutes, they could have done something there.
Could have done so.
They had the ball, they had it, and they just looked lost. They didn't know what to do with it. They looked like what we looked like last season.
They could have done more with it. They could have done more. You know what?
But they didn't know what to do with it.
You know
nice point, Dan. Nice point.
That final 10 minutes, the funniest thing was when that ball went up. I don't remember. It's been a long time since I remember seeing such a thing. When the ball went up for 10 minutes, both sets of fans started going back, like cheering. They were elevated. Something's possible. You know, both thought of possibilities when that ball went up. Normally you hear one groan, 10 minutes to go, and one cheering because they can get back in. A bit like Sheffield United, but it wasn't to be. I think you could have done more in that final 10.
Tommy.
Sorry, go on, Tony.
Yeah, Tommy, see, there's a reason why me and TJ, you know, are not really in a good mood. You can see TJ's face. Yeah, we're not really in a good mood. It was a draw, but it actually felt like a loss. That was like 3 points loss. Yeah, we're not happy about it.
I've got to say, Tony,
we're not going to mouth off about anything.
I might get baited for this, but it's sort of in reverse as Spurs fans. I think both teams could have won it. Both teams could have won it, but we're almost looking at it like it was a 3 points. I think a lot of the fans are looking at it like it was a 3 points. And I'm going to get onto where we are as teams in the long haul and what our ambitions are going to be for this season. Spurs and Arsenal in a little while. And that's how I see it with Spurs fans. Both teams could have won it for sure. TJ. Son, were you happy to see Son come off? The decision Ange made, and what did you make of Arteta? Any poor errors on his part?
I was very happy to see Son come off because anytime you see Richarlison trotting out there, you know that the goals are drying up. He is awful.
He's awful. He's awful.
And you know, you could score against Sheffield United. That's fine. Be in the right place at the right time against Sheffield United. But when you go up against teams that know how to defend, he is done. Richarlison, I knew that you guys weren't scoring again. But again, I'm going to give Arteta a little bit of an out here because he really doesn't have anybody on the bench that he could have chosen from. Like, you know, it's bad when you're starting both Jesus and Eddie and Nketiah. That means your bench is not deep enough.
Yeah, but don't you think he should have brought Smith Rowe on earlier?
I think you should. No, I absolutely think you should.
He's a good player.
No, Dan, I'm getting there. Dan, I'm getting there. I don't want to see, and I said this at the top of the show. I don't want to see Vieira start. I don't want to see Havertz start. I want to see Emile Smith Rowe start. If he does not start on Wednesday and then start again against Bournemouth, he needs to leave.
TJ, where would you play? Where would you have played Smith Rowe? So I'm guessing you would have stuck with Odegaard.
Right next to Odegaard, right on the left of Odegaard.
You put him on. You put him on the. Okay. Oh, so on the left side. That's what I'm
thinking. In the same area that Kai Havertz is playing.
Yeah.
In that same area.
I really would.
That Kai Havertz is playing.
So it's almost like it's like a 4-3-3 and then like a 4-5-1 in attack, isn't it? Sort of the way Arsenal play.
Exactly right. Exactly right. No, and it's one of those things where, look, like I know there are injury concerns around him. I get it, but there has to be something else going on in the background with Emile Smith Rowe. He might not be training well. I don't want to speculate, but if there was one person that you could bring on and historically has cooked in North London derbies, it's Emile Smith Rowe. They literally sing songs about this kid, and all he does is sit on the bench.
He's another great homegrown talent. He's another great homegrown talent, and I was banging on about him last season. He's a very, very, very talented player.
I think exactly.
What injury did he have, TJ? What was his? It was an ACL.
I don't remember. I think it was a groin. Actually, it was groin.
Okay. Because he's out for a long time, wasn't he? He
was having reoccurring chronic groin issues. But it's one of those things where, and I'll not stick on this point too much. That Dan, you're exactly right. I think it was an insult to bring ESR on at that stage, especially in this game where historically he has cooked Tottenham. So and we were calling, and the real Arsenal fans were calling out for him to start over Havertz or Vieira, because like if you look at the past, he's done very, very well. So if I'm gonna criticize anything, it's gonna be the fact that he waited so long to bring ESR on. He really, in my opinion, didn't have any choice but to bring Jorginho on in the event of Rice getting injured, because what are you going to do? Play El Neni, who hasn't played in over a year? Like, our options were garbage. And you can go back to the transfer window. I really don't want to dig too deep into this, but our injuries really are plaguing us. I'm not using that as an excuse. We should have won.
Do you know what, TJ? That's the exact point I was going to come on to. And I'll stick with you on it, because, you know, you got Martinelli out, Trossard. They both pretty much went out in the same week.
Timber.
Timber's a big miss. I think Timber was a good sign. Is that blame? Can we blame this on the North London derby? Is that something that we can, as you just mentioned, can we blame that on?
Where were our injuries last year when we had all our injuries? Do you think any gooner was bothered? Like half of our team was injured because Conte was like using them as battering rams?
Just a question. It's just a question.
We couldn't even field a team, man.
Just a question. Yeah, TJ, what are your thoughts?
Well, sorry, what was the question?
It was just because you mentioned injuries, and I always have a few notes up, and I just wanted, you mentioned injuries, and obviously, do you think it really affected the North London derby? The fact that Trossard and Martinelli were missing on the left, Timber was missing.
100%. Yeah, it did.
100%.
I'm not going to use it as an excuse, though. I was saying before the match that there's more than enough, and we should be able to beat these guys at home. I was never saying it was going to be a 5-0 like some of our other friends were, but I did say that we were going to win 3-2 with the starting 11 that we had.
So I stick to the Desmond, so
don't worry about that. Don't worry about that. That was my twin brother. Timmy.
Timmy and Tommy went to play. Yeah.
So I was sticking on the same subject, Johnny. Do you think they can use that as an excuse? We're missing a man. We're missing quite a very good player in Ben Sanker.
What about? Hang on a minute. What about that guy that I had all the messages from Gooners saying, "You're done. Harry Kane's gone, man. You're finished." Right? I had so many messages. Right? I said, you know what? The man with no name, the man who should not be mentioned. Right? I think we will play. I actually thought West Ham and Spurs would both have better seasons, because everything goes through Declan Rice. Everything went through Harry Kane. We look for Harry Kane in every instant, right? Harry Kane is a fantastic player, no two ways about it. One of the greats, right? But
we relied on him too much.
Now, I think we relied on him too much. I think everything went through him too much. I think he had too much power within the club, and I think players like Sonny and other players have risen to it. And I expect Spurs to be scoring from everywhere. Not one. I think if you look at our goal contributions last year, they probably weren't great around the team. I think this season we're going to see a completely different story. I do think Son will have his best season with Maddison.
I think it's a very different debate than we had last week, Johnny, because the fact of the matter is last week, we still hadn't played a team in the top 10. 3 of the teams we were playing are probably going to be in a relegation battle. So I said, this is the first real acid test. And if we're scoring 2 against Arsenal and we could have scored more, then you've got to look at the attack and say that it is a fresh start for a lot of these players. And I'm never going to say Harry Kane holds his side down. I think we would have had a better... If Harry Kane's here...
No, I just said holding him down. No, I didn't say holding
Wow,
him down.
I can't believe
we are a
Kane
better team without Harry Kane.
You guys are slagging Kane off.
No,
this is
listening, man.
This is hilarious. This guy single-handedly give you guys its future. And look at how you're debating about Kane.
I still believe.
You're missing the point.
I personally still believe if you had Kane up top, Son left wing with Maddison behind him, we would have had over the longevity, over 40 games, we would have had a better season.
I think we played better.
I think the reason Kane came deeper because we didn't have a cam. Since we sold Ericsson, we didn't have we had coming deep. That's why he came deeper. His goal, when you look 30 goals last season with Maddison behind him and Son to the left. I'm sorry, but you can't. I don't think you can say that we're going to be
I think we played better as a team without Harry Kane. I think we played better as a team overall with Harry Kane. And me and John said this enough times with enough people.
Poch as the number 9. We saw Poch we saw we saw him as the number 9 with Ericsson behind him. That's the best Spurs team I've ever seen, and we were fighting for title.
Of course. But the problem ended up. What John was trying to say, and me and him have both had this debate with loads of other people. This is one thing me and him have agreed on, and many things we disagreed on. As a whole, we weren't even Tottenham Hotspur. We was Harry Kane Football Club.
100%.
Every time someone got the ball, the first thing they did, where's Harry Kane? Where's Harry Kane? Where's Harry Kane? Right.
Because he was the assist
we need to set it up. We relied on him.
And goal scorer.
I know, but Tom, we relied on him so much that the rest of the players almost didn't feel they had to do something because they just looked for Harry Kane.
I get it, Dan. But the reason, the stick that Kane gets from Spurs fans is the fact that
he shouldn't get no stick. He has been
because he kept coming deeper. If he doesn't have to come deep, he's going to score more goals. He had to come so deep the last 2 or 3 years.
But that's not what I'm saying.
We're not giving him stick. What we're saying is we're not giving him stick. I just said I was.
He's an excellent player and he's been brilliant.
Hang on, Tony. I'm very clear here, right? He's one of the greats to ever play for the club. What I'm saying to you here is when Leicester won the title, right, they didn't have it's this player and that's it. It was one man, one team. It's a unit. It's a cohesive unit. 11 players or as a squad all playing together were better than the sum of one single individual. And all I'm saying is nothing can ever take away what Harry Kane done for this club.
No, it can't.
What I'm saying to you is I think if you're taking him out, right, what's happened is now we've got 11 players that are all fighting for each other. There's no man who is bigger than anybody else, right?
It's spread the responsibility.
What I'm saying, what I'm
just
saying,
Harry Kane.
What I'm saying in regard to that, I'm not saying you think Harry Kane's a bad player, not at all.
He's excellent. I'm looking one of the best strikers ever.
I'm looking at it from the basis of under Pochettino, we had a very, very high press. People were saying we can't play the Ange way. Kane can't play the Ange way with a high press.
I never said that.
One of the highest pressing managers of all time. This is the system. He's been in a poor system, Harry Kane, with Conte and Jose.
But it's a different press,
with Maddison behind him in this system where Kane wouldn't have to drop in as a cam because we have a quality one. it would be unbelievable. It would be even great. Now, I know mentally it's all about Harry Kane, but the reason it's all about Harry Kane is because he's going to be, well, he would have been the highest ever Spurs goal scorer, highest ever English goal scorer, and probably, if he comes back to the Premier League, you know, the highest ever Premier League goal scorer.
He will in 2 years.
He's made that.
But Tommy, how would you feel?
He deserves that. It's not because everything just goes through him. In the Poch days, we have a great defense. Our defense was magnificent.
Tom, the past 3 years,
and Bele
has been Harry Kane. If it weren't for Harry Kane in the past 3 years, we'd have probably been.
We've got nothing else other than Harry Kane. We've built this season.
What did you say? But Tommy,
but again, yeah.
I think we signed
Kane when Kane played for your football club.
Minute,
he
Tony.
made Son a better player.
He
made Son a better player. Son was scoring goals.
Tony, I'll come to you in a second. One final thing. I just feel like this was the window that would have helped Harry Kane the most right now. If you sign Van der Ven and you sign Maddison, this win in this system, this is where Harry Kane is at his best, and we don't need to rely on just Harry Kane in this system like we didn't back in the day with Eriksen, Dembele, and all those great players. That's just
Tommy, how would you feel if we go on to have an incredible season without Harry Kane? Would you still say?
You could have had a better. So if we finished fourth, I think we could have finished third
or fourth, right? Would you then go on and say, "Oh, this is no good. If we'd have kept Harry Kane, we would have won the title"? Would you still say that, or would you say acknowledge how much we progressed as a club without Harry? I'm just interested to see. I love Harry Kane. I'm just saying.
Same.
I just don't think you can take one of the best strikers on the planet the last 5 years and be a better side. I just don't see it. Even if it's the mental state, I just don't see it.
You could be a bad team.
Third, put it this way, Johnny. I'll be honest. If we finished third, I think we could have finished second. It's as simple as that.
That's what I'm saying.
Right. Okay. Let's just put it down to this then, Tom. Yeah. Someone gets the ball in midfield. Basuma gets the ball in midfield. Yeah. What would you rather he do? Would you rather he puts his head up and just looks for Harry Kane, or puts his head up and looks for whoever we got playing? Son looks for Solomon or Johnson, Kulusevski, looks about for the pass. As all it ever used to be was the ball had to get to Harry Kane, otherwise we was fucked. As simple as that. And I am not dissing that man in any way. He's one of the greatest strikers ever in the Premiership. But as a whole, I think Tottenham are actually better as a team without him, because the responsibility is now spread. They can't just give it to Harry Kane because, oh, don't worry, Harry Kane will do the job. Others now have to do their job. Others now have to stand up and do it. Yes, I would have loved Kane to be there with Maddison. Don't get me wrong. But I feel we've been there so long and carrying us for so long that after players, they didn't know anywhere else to look anyway. I think we actually played better as a team without Harry Kane.
Right. Tony, you wanted to get in there. What have you got to say on the matter, on the Harry Kane affair?
The way Kane's name is being thrown out here, I'm not feeling good about that, because I really do feel that Kane actually gave you guys a lease of life. This guy gave you guys his future. Yeah, he could have gone to any football club and won trophies with any football club. He's that guy that was there giving you 30 goals. See, you've heralded him as that guy that could get you those goals. But you guys have suddenly forgotten that Son was cooking. See, bar last season, Son is a very, very respected player. And why is that? Because Son creates spaces. Yeah, when he's attacking, he creates spaces for people like Son and even Bentancur, who just came to your football club the other day. Yeah, he got him cooking. He got him in the act. Let's don't act as if he didn't make other players around him more better players. Yeah, it's the way you guys talk about Kane. It looks like, oh, he's a kind of like a greedy kind of guy. But
no,
I don't think
no one here slated him. Nobody, me or John, have
so.
slated
He created spaces. He made other players better around him.
You're missing the point, mate. You're missing the point.
He made other players better around him. It wasn't just only him. It's the man. Of course, he was getting 30 goals in a season. But apart from last season, okay, wait. Apart from last season, wasn't Son a respected striker in this league? Actually, wasn't he regarded as a lethal striker? That's a yes or no.
He was always a winger, inverted.
Yeah. He's never.
Good. Was he getting goals? That's what I'm talking about. Was he getting goals?
Look, no one has slated Harry Kane.
Let's don't act as if Kane didn't make other players around him more better.
So
No
we
one
can't
said
have
he
a good
didn't.
season. Harry Kane is left, and we can't have a good season because Harry Kane has gone. Right?
We can have a good. We can still have a good season. We can still absolutely have a good season.
We're playing the
Well,
best
it's
football
too
we've
early.
played
It's
in
too
years.
early to make it's too early. There's no
I know
metrics
it's too
that can
early,
guarantee that.
but I'm going to
It's
celebrate.
just 5 games. Let's
I'm
see
gonna,
the
it's
effects.
6 games. It's 6 games, and I'm going to
Okay,
celebrate.
6 games. Sorry.
I'm going to celebrate and live the life. I'm on the train, right, and I ain't getting off until someone throws me off. I'm going to enjoy it after 4 years of watching Tony. You've been privileged to watch good football, right? We haven't.
Yes, sir.
Okay, we've watched
season.
terrible football. I can watch your football and think, you know what? I enjoy watching Arsenal play football. Sad as it may be for me, I'm a football fan. I'm a football fan, and I can say that, right? But our football has been shocking. It's football to go. It's like a funeral. Going to the ground every week was like going to a funeral. It was shocking.
Yes,
right?
it was.
The defenders we had, the midfield we had, and the cams we had were terrible. That's
Shocking.
why. That is
But
why
one
we
point-
had a good transfer
one point.
window.
No
Good
one
transfer
has
window.
slated Harry Kane on here. Not not me or John said a bad word about him.
No, and we're not
You're
saying
making it
anything.
out like we've ripped it out of him or something. Not at all.
It's
I
not
was just
slating
not
him. I
happy
just
with
don't-
relying
I don't
on
see-
one person.
I don't see how someone of that level, because this guy is the elite. I don't see how you'd be worse off. I just don't. TJ, how do you see it? How do you see the whole Harry Kane debate?
I've been talking about this for a while, especially now that Spurs are on form, unfortunately for us. I believe that in the end, Spurs are going to be a better club without him. And that is because, and I am not
Hallelujah.
gonna slag off Kane. He is one of the best strikers in the world. He makes Bayern Munich way better. The Champions League is going to be a lot of fun to watch this season.
Yes.
Anyway, but getting back to it, it forces the rest of the 11 to support each other and own it, instead of just saying, okay, well, Harry will bail us out of this. Well, Harry will bail us out of that.
Exactly.
Well, if Harry doesn't perform, then I don't need to perform, right? Or if Harry performs, then I'm good. Like it balances the weight of the rest of the club. It distributes the weight of responsibility around the club, whereas I don't believe before that was the case. And you have to give that credit to Heung-Min Son and Ange Postecoglou, because Ange Postecoglou has come in here and said, hey, look, we lost him. It is what it is. Here's your new captain. It's time to rally. And the way that they have conducted themselves and the way that they have gotten the fans involved, saying, okay, we're all in this together, has obviously lifted the club a little bit, a lot more. So I think in the end, it's going to look very, very good for Tottenham again, unfortunately.
I think you just hit the nail on the head, because you basically just said in a different way and probably put it better than me and John.
I literally echoed what you guys said.
I know. You
there-
said it in a different. You said it in.
Yeah,
different
he's saying in
words
a
that
different
sounded
way,
better.
in a more
It
decent
sounded
way,
better.
in a more
Yeah,
befitting way. Actually,
Okay, some people just haven't got the best way with words. I'm blunt and blatant. I ain't got the best way with words. The way TJ
man.
just put it is spot on. No one has slated this man. He was
Thank you very
epic
much.
and
All the
still
people
is.
in the room listening to me and Dan, right? Okay, listen up. 2 of these, 1 of these, right? We are saying Harry Kane is fantastic, right? We love Harry Kane. All we're saying is, now he's gone. We didn't want him to go. He's gone, right? So we have to move on. All I'm saying is now, we're looking very cohesive as a unit, okay? Whether it's just Ange or the signings, or a combination of Ange, the signings, and people not looking for Harry Kane in every pass, we don't know. It's early days, and as Tony said, we've only played 6 games, right? But we are
so far so good.
So far, so good.
I think that's the key. I think that is always the key. 6 games into the season, it is early days. It does look very good early on. But some people, one or two people in the chat, Harry Kane will come up. The Harry Kane debate will come up because he scored so many goals for us. So unfortunately, it will for the next 30 years. Harry Kane will be talked about for Spurs.
I'm just glad Sky Sports aren't every time.
We have to move on. off the pitch, I think it actually is. Off the pitch, I think it's helped. Off the pitch, for players to lead. I think Son's come out of his shell a little bit more as well. But I do disagree with the footballing side of things. I believe if you have Maddison, Son, and Kane there, you score 10 more goals a season. That's just how I see it. But in the long run, no player is bigger than the club. No chance. No player is ever bigger than the club. So we move on. But it's still good to debate. I think you can debate things.
But he was nearly bigger than Spurs. When you said Tottenham,
that's because he was so good. That's because he was.
But that's what I'm saying.
He's like a martyr. He's like a martyr for being so good, because he's so good. It's like
Pep called us Harry Kane FC, man. Even the Sky called us Harry Kane FC. It was disrespectful to the rest of the squad, you know.
There's a reason. There's a reason why I'm saying it's early days to know the true effect of Kane leaving. That's what I'm actually saying. Yeah, see, we need to see if Maddison gets injured, what happens? Does the same kind of trickery going around? Would it happen? And mind you, Van der Veen is still a new defender down here. Yeah, the last time I checked, the Premier League is a humbler. Yeah, it will humble you. The greatest of the greatest have been here, and they've been humbled. Look at Koulibaly. He's run off to Saudi Arabia. Take it easy. Let's wait until 12, 15 games. Let's see.
Agree.
When the injuries start coming, when Romero gets injured, when he goes into international games for Argentina, he's their henchman down there. When he goes down there, let's see. When he comes back, let's see what happens if someone like Kulusevski. If Kulusevski is injured, let us see the response.
And I think it goes for all teams. It goes for Arsenal too. It goes for Arsenal too. Arsenal is still unbeaten. They could finish outside the top 4. Let's wait. They could finish.
If you lost Saliba,
it's possible. It's possible.
If we lost Saliba, we would be in so much trouble.
In the same
we lost Saliba last season, and our goddamn title challenge collapsed.
Rob Holding, don't
That's what I'm saying. Rob Holding. Oh my God!
He started for Crystal Palace today.
Arsenal boys. Arsenal. Is Holding still there?
No, he's gone. He's at Crystal Palace giving up goals.
That's right. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Look, Arsenal are in the same situation.
We protected his value and sold him for $4 million.
Listen, you got Kiwi on. Listen, look, the thing is, we know as Spurs fans, right? We know if we lose Maddison or Mickey Van der Ven or Romero, we're in trouble.
One injury, we are.
It's finished. It's finished.
It's finished. It's done. Situation as Arsenal. Arsenal done the same as us in the transfer market. They made their first 11 better. We made our first 11 better. But as a squad, Arsenal are no better. Nor are Tottenham. Because one injury at Arsenal, bang, it all goes to trouble. Because the drop from the quality they have in that 11, same as Spurs, is too big. If we lose Sarr, Maddison or Basuma, you can't bring Bentancur onto it because we don't know how he's going to be. So we've got bloody Skip or Højbjerg who ain't great. If we lose either of our defenders, we've got Eric bloody Dyer, who I'd rather just put a statue there because he'd probably get in the way of the bloody ball more. Or we've got this player who's 18 who we've never heard of. Yeah. Up front, we're a bit more covered, same as Arsenal. Arsenal in midfield, they lose Declan Rice, baked potato. See you later, mate. Because exactly what happens, Jorginho. They've lost their backup defender or who they were going to play on the left. If they lose Saliba in defence, what's the drop? Because then when Saliba comes out, it showed how crap Zinchenko is as a defender. Very good as a forward, but crap as a defender because he was at fault for 5 of them goals. One injury and it falls to crap because the drop is so big.
To be fair, Dan, I think that is why they signed Timber. I think that's why they signed Timber.
Yeah, it was. But he's gone.
Why we signed Timber. He was looking like one of the best. He was looking like he could be one of the best
Spurs to get
in the league.
I wanted Spurs to get him while he was at Ajax.
Centre back, they actually done their due diligence. They got rid of Holding and they got Timber in. Very, very unlucky.
Yeah, but Timber. But here's the great thing about Timber. I'm going to use the V word, versatility. He was cooking at left back with Zinchenko out.
Oh, was it? Of course, because he played for Ajax at right back as well. But left back pre-season for you guys, wasn't he?
He could cover the whole back.
And he looked great. He looked great.
He's a very good player.
He was my man of the match in the Community Shield. He's the only reason we're holding that plate up right next to the dog in the team picture. Like, he is the reason.
Yeah, I agree.
And then we lose him on a questionable call by Arteta to play him in the second half of the Nottingham Forest game.
Should have took him
See, it's those kinds of decisions by Mikel Arteta that make me be like Arteta on probation. I'm not Arteta in. I'm not Arteta out. I'm Arteta. You better win something, or I want you out. Because
well said. I'll give you that one, mate. Fair play.
But what I'm seeing thus far, though, Tommy. I'll shut up after this. What I'm seeing thus far, Tommy, does not inspire me. I'm not gonna lie. So
okay. Finally, I know we brought it up earlier. This is the last thing on the actual game on Sunday.
The hand of God.
Does anyone think it wasn't a penalty?
No, it's a penalty.
It's a penalty.
It's a penalty.
Dan?
Look, I went on a show this morning and an hour's debate with everyone, and in the end, we had to all sit down and agree that nobody understands the handball rule. Some were saying it's blatantly not a handball because the way he's going down, he's actually in motion. It weren't that his arm was out; he was in motion with his body going for the attack. The only reason I don't think that would have been a handball anywhere else in that area. The only reason that got given as a handball is because it was directly in front of the goal. And does anybody actually understand what handball actually is? Because I bloody don't. And it got all brought up this morning and showed the handball rule, from what I got shown this morning, is meant to be if a person intentionally touches the ball with their hand. But so that means 99% of handballs aren't handballs then, because most of them it ain't
an unnatural
intentional
position, isn't it? They say an unnatural position now.
His hand was in an unnatural position.
This was the conversation that I was having with Archie on our show today. Was that if he intentionally, deliberately was the word, deliberately use your hand to block the ball? Well, how can you tell what's deliberate and what isn't deliberate? Like, Give me a break. They need to reword that rule. Otherwise, we're going to keep having. I swear they word things like this so we can argue about it on YouTube.
It was a penalty because
it's so ridiculous.
It was in front of the goal. Simple as that. His hand was there, his body was there, and he was going through the ball. But because his hand was there, whether it was natural, whatever, it was in front of goal. It's going to be a penalty, whether we like it or not. So it was a penalty.
I believe it was a natural position. I think for that body motion, it was a natural position. But I still would have given a penalty. I still would have given a penalty.
The shot.
But it should not have been given a penalty because the ref. First of all, the ref didn't give it. VAR didn't know what to do with it. So if the ref
back on the ref
and VAR don't know what to do with it, that's 2 no's. That can't be a penalty. It can't be a penalty for me. You can't give it back to the ref. I don't like this giving it back to the ref. For me, initially it was a penalty. If you don't get it, then if VAR agrees, fair enough. VAR probably should have come in and said it was a penalty. Both no's. I don't think you can go back to the referee. I just don't think you can do that. So I think that's a big problem with the VAR system. But overall, I have no complaint. If it was an Arsenal player that done that, I would want a penalty. It's as simple as that. I would expect.
I would expect that to be a penalty, and people are going to say, "Oh, TJ, you're biased," and I am a little bit biased.
No, I agree.
That was very much a penalty.
I'll go back to the referee and VAR. I think they made the wrong call because they both didn't see it as a penalty. I still think they made the wrong call. It's a nightmare. VAR is an absolute nightmare.
I thought it was a penalty from the off. I thought it was a penalty from the off. I said he's blocking. Listen, had there been a couple of players behind, I might have changed my mind. What he said was, and I love Dermot Gallagher, love this one. This was the classic. Had Basuma not been behind him, he would have recommended that Romero gets sent off because he was the last man. I mean, really? Come off it.
No.
What are you talking about?
It was a harsh decision, but his hand blocked what I would say was 80% chance of going in the back of the net. Yeah. So it had to be a penalty.
Yeah, 100%.
Like it or lump it. That's how I see it. I know others see it different, and others have made very good points to me in that. And I just don't think anybody understands what the handball rule is, because if that would have been anywhere else in the area, it wouldn't have even been a handball. It's because it was in front of the goal. So it had to be.
I just believe that he was blocking a blatant goal, a ball that was just to go directly into the net.
But not
And
intentionally.
again, that ball was going to the net.
But it
You also
wasn't
have to check.
intentional.
You also have to check if that ball was also is also
But it wasn't
going to
intentional.
disturb a blatant goal. It was an open goal.
This is the
it was
problem.
going into the net. It was
But
going
it
into the
wasn't
net,
intentional.
and it hit the guy's hand.
Handball rule says the
in the
handball
18
rule
yard box.
says the handball rule says, I got it shown to me this morning when I had the debate that I think it's a penalty and others didn't. The handball rule states it has to be intentional. It weren't intentional. I mean, what do you expect the man to do? Go down cross-handed? I get that. But this is where nobody understands the handball rule because it's such a bloody mess. But
Then
I would
how
have
do you
still give the
then,
handball
then
to
how
blow
can
the
you
goal.
how can you ensure that that wasn't deliberate? These are professional players. They're professional
Look
in
at how he
triggering
was.
also.
Look at the momentum of a person. It wasn't. Where else was his arm bloody meant to be? You don't go down to a tackle with your arms like that.
As a centre back, as a centre back, and I used to
It was
scout
harsh,
defensively. That
but
is
it
a
blocked the
natural.
goal.
That is actually for that body motion. It's a natural position.
It
I think
was.
it is actually a natural position.
It was. So
But
technically,
it's so different. I agree with Tony and I agree with Dan to a certain extent.
it is.
What you
It's
do,
a.
it's stopping a goal.
It
It's
is.
literally stopping a goal.
It's
So
stopping a goal.
it's very, 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 very difficult.
But the rule says it has to be intentional. So, like I said this morning, I don't understand the handball rule in football.
Yeah,
anymore.
then if we're going by that, then I would go stop a ball going through goal and say it's just it wasn't
I'll agree.
intentional.
I'll agree. Whether it was intentional or not, if it hits the hand in front of goal, it's a penalty.
We're entering the last half an hour of the show. I don't like to keep these shows over 2 hours a great deal. We've got almost 50 people watching, but what I've seen is we haven't got a single extra like since the last half hour. We're still on 31 likes. So make sure you smash that like if you haven't already.
Cool, man.
So.
That's worse than Richarlison's goal return. Come on.
It keeps the channel going. It keeps the channel going. If you like the content, and I think we've had a fantastic show tonight. Maybe being slightly biased, the Gooners on. It's been great, and we probably won't see Tony and TJ for a while. So smash that like if you want to see him back on again. I'm sure we do a preview for the next game and a reaction if we don't lose.
I need a couple of months.
When is the next game? When is the next?
I don't know.
I like
not till.
I really liked. I love the fact that we had the
really
North London derby, even though it was postponed. The last 3 games of the season, it was like the fourth game before the end. I absolutely love that. I was there for that as well. It was unbelievable. I wish we could do that again. Like there's something on it. At that stage of the season, there's going to be something.
when you know.
But you know what, Tommy? Someone's been fucking around with the fixtures, right? Because for some unknown reason, we played loads of away. We started with an away fixture. You normally finish with a home, and if you start with a home, you finish with away. We start with an away fixture. We finish with an away fixture. And the other thing that's strange, normally when you play a team early, right, in the first couple of months, we should be playing Arsenal in January or February. We don't play them till, is it April? April.
I think so, yeah. I think you're right.
So it's going to be something could well be on it. Will Arsenal be going for 5th place?
Right, I'm going to reel it in a little bit now. I'm going to reel it in a little bit now because this is separate to everyone. This is separate to everyone. So first of all, the Spurs fans. Who do we hate? Who do we hate? Tier list of hate. Mikel Arteta, Darren Bent. I've seen what he's had to say on TalkSport this week. It's not great. Ex-Spurs player, of course. Judas, Laura Woods, and Mr. Jack Wilshere. Dan, where do you sit on the tier list of hate? Anyone you despise the most?
Cannot believe you didn't put Campbell
on. A bad rap? Anyone here? So Campbell thinks he gets a bad rap.
Yeah, because he can't rap, man.
Sorry. Took me a minute to
Too
catch
busy
on.
passing off as Mr.
Dan, you're muted, my friend. I don't know if you've done it on purpose or your microphone's falling out, but
No, I've done it on purpose because I'm saying sorry. I forgot to put it back on. Hate is too much of a strong word for me. I don't hate because if I hate someone, then they're too much in my head, as far as I'm concerned. Hate is too much of a use.
Love and hate, isn't it? It's very close.
Yeah. Well, they're the same thing. You're kill for love, you're kill for hate. So, but I must admit, I think Arteta's a proper little prick, but I don't despise the fella. If anything, I almost feel a bit sorry for him because he's so desperate to be this Pep Guardiola that he's never, ever going to be. So I can't despise the fella just because he's the Arsenal manager and that. If anything, I've got that little sympathy thing where I laugh with, you know, like that little 10-year-old that just wants to be good at football like the others, but he's just crap. I look on Arteta the same. He can't be what he wants to be. So I can't despise the fella for it, like others saying that. I mean, at the moment, you can't really slate Levy, whether you want to or not. I don't like him. I want him out of the club, whatever. But so far this season, he seems to have got it half right, doesn't he? And that makes me sick saying it. I can't stand a fella, but you can't really say he's got it wrong this season with who he's managed to get in there.
At this stage, of course, at this stage.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Who's the one you despise the most? This little list here, who's the one you despise the most?
Come on, Dan, you shouldn't need to think about it, man. Shall I get the rope for you? Right.
Oh, right. Am I looking there right now? Well, Jack Wilshere, I can't stand the fella. Was that Jack Wilshere you said there?
Wilshere's at the end. Yeah, I've put the banner up. I've got the banner up here. I've put the banner up at the bottom. So, yeah, Wilshere, Laura Woods, Judas, Ben, and Arteta. To be fair,
right. Without saying, I didn't see the middle bit there. Yeah, Sol Campbell.
Two of them, to be fair, two of them, the hate only really comes from TalkSport. And that's Ben and Laura Woods.
I didn't see the one you put there. I must admit, if Sol Campbell got hit by a bus, I'd shrug my shoulders and say shit happens. So, yeah, Sol Campbell.
Jesus.
I'm not wishing nothing, but if he got hit by a bus, I wouldn't butter an eyelid. I'd just say shit happens, mate. Life's a bitch. They say then you marry one, then you die. I've been lucky that I haven't married one, so I'll just die.
Dan, you don't go on Twitter a great deal, do you? So you probably haven't seen what Ben has been up to. He's
no, I listen to Talk Sport a bit and everything, and that again, he's another fair. I just think he's a prick. He's a player that was never anything special, but talks like he was something special. He's another one like an Arteta for me that you can just sort of laugh at and just say, yeah, you never really reached it, boy. Did you? Just sit down. So out of all that lot, yeah, then it's got to be Sol Campbell. If he, like I said, he gets hit by a bus, life's a bitch. Shit happens.
Yeah, Johnny. Judas for you. Any other mentions?
Judas. Yeah. Judas. Shame Jesus isn't there. He could have nailed into one of his crosses. I would say that after that, it would have to be Lego Head in order. Then it would have to be. Do you know what? Darren Bent, right? I mean, I'll never forget Harry going on about his wife Sandra could have finished that goal better than Darren Bent. But he does actually make me laugh because I think half the time he's on the wind-up. He's definitely on the wind-up. He keeps a straight face. And when he's doing his combined 11 and putting all Arsenal players in there, it's a wind-up, man. We know it's a wind-up. We know deep down, as a footballer, if he was going to give his true thoughts about it, they would have chucked a couple in. Wiltshire is just short and bitter. There's nothing you can say about it. It's just short career. But,
oh my God! It's
Laura
good
Woods,
to just see sports fans
Woods.
melt down on this guy. Yeah.
Laura Woods, she can't help it. She loves to give it. She loves to give it, and she's given it. She's given it large, and now she's not on the radio. She's not there to receive it now, so she's probably happy that she's left. But she never offended me. I just thought it was banter. I just thought she was just bantering along with Ben. They never really bothered me. She, you knew what she was going to say. She would always take the piss. But right now, she'd be struggling. So for me, it's Judah, Arteta, Wiltshire, and that's about it, really, for me. Oh, and the crumbling arena, which is the Emirates. I think you might need a lick of paint, from what I'm told. The Colosseum is crumbling.
I tell you what, I'll tell you what, I'm with you on the whole Laura Woods and Bent thing. I'm not into this talk sport talk shit and da. I don't really care about that. I think Bent is genuinely I think you mentioned it right. I think subconsciously he's pissed off what Harry Redknapp said about him when he said his his wife could have finished that. I think he's still bitter. Bitter is the right word. I still think he's bitter, and obviously an Arsenal fan. But I don't take much of what happens on.
No.
But I can't even tell you what Laura Woods has ever said about Spurs. I'm not interested.
I think Keown's more annoying. I think Keown.
Well, when you look at the top 5, if I'm looking at the top 5 most hated by Spurs, this is what came up. So I don't really care. I'm with Johnny 100%, and Dan says the same thing.
I hate Martin Keown more.
But tell you what, behind Judas, it's Wilshere is not far behind. I cannot stand that boy. One of the worst things he said when he was released by Arsenal, and he was about to be released by West Ham, he brought up the fact that I wouldn't sign for Spurs even if they offered me a contract. No one's offering you a contract after you've been released by West Ham. No one's offering you a contract. Then he went to some cheerleading Scandinavian Division 2 team shortly after that. And he's always digged Spurs out. I think he was average. At his best before his injuries, he was okay. But no, I cannot stand. It's Judas closely followed behind Wilshere. Arteta doesn't really bother me. He hasn't been there that long. He hasn't won anything yet, has he?
Yes.
He has, man. Come on,
the FA
man.
Cup.
Of course he has. What am I talking about? Of course he has. I know you've won the FA Cup 4 times over the last 10 years. But
the Charity Shield. Come on, man. We beat Man City to get that place.
I'm thinking Charity Shield. When you said that, I'm thinking Charity Shield.
No, they won the FA Cup.
But he doesn't worry me. But I tell you what, on the sidelines, he does my fucking head in. I cannot stand how he operates.
Get him back in the box.
Not just against Spurs. It's not just against Spurs either.
He does it every match.
Every match. Oh, he's just an absolute liability. He's got to get a ban. He's got to just.
He's gotten yells for it. He's gotten yells for it before. He's very mouthy too.
It's unbelievable what he gets away with. It's unbelievable what he gets away with.
When a player's running, I'm not being funny, TJ, but when you're a player and you're running towards the touchline and he's literally almost on the touchline, that's not being a player. You can't be doing that.
It is disgraceful.
It's up to the incredible referees that we have here in the Premier League.
Yeah, I'll agree with that. You see, John, what you said about Martin Keown, I don't like him, but I love him on TalkSport because I can't deny it. I like Simon Jordan, and I like the way he cuts him up bad.
Yeah,
I like Simon Jordan. I can't deny it. He just takes him apart every time, and I do like it. If anything, instead of Keown, I think Merson's a bigger prick than him. And he got shut up the other day as well.
I should have put him. Merson's. He robs a living being a pundit. Absolutely robs a living being a pundit.
You know, he blatantly goes out the back and does a line before he comes and sits down with his beer that he's claiming is water.
Don't be surprised. He's. He's.
Who you talking about there?
I should have put him in front of Laura Woods.
Merson.
Oh, Merson, yeah.
Merson, you know, when he's on the show, he sits there and gets quiet and everything. Then the commercials come on. You know, he goes out the back, does a line, he comes back, he's all charged up again.
I've got to tell you, he must have been on the sauce when he was predicting Spurs to be absolutely slaughtered, as he put it. Right?
Look at him. You can even see it in his eyes, for God's sake. You can't tell me that man does not gear up like in the toilet.
I tell you what, he's done my Instagram great, man, because the amount of comments that I've got on my Insta and TikTok for that clip.
Right, over to the Gunners. Now, I found this very difficult to find. I'm not an Arsenal fan to find Spurs people to do with the club that you hate. So I've put Arteta's exclusive member because I know a lot of Arsenal fans despise Arteta a lot more.
Why didn't you put Conte in there? Should have put Conte in there.
Oh, you don't give a shit about Conte.
I think you could put Conte in the Spurs fans hate. I don't think Arsenal. I think Spurs fans genuinely hated Conte. So Kane, Arteta, Dele Alli, Jamie O'Hara, TalkSport, Daniel Levy. Are there others? Maybe I've missed a whole load, Tony. But yeah, what Spurs associated person do you hate the most?
Jamie O'Hara is a prick.
Oh my God. See, I have to go with O'Hara. Yeah, I listen to TalkSport and just listen to this guy talk. It boils my blood. It boils my blood seeing this guy talk. Yeah, he hates Arsenal. Like he genuinely hates Arsenal. This guy doesn't like us. And even last season, when we were, cooking last season, he actually, he hates Arsenal. That's just all I can say. And this talk sports guys, yeah, they like talking from this position as if they were gods when they were playing. These guys were just, mediocre players at worst, mediocre players at best. Maybe apart from the Arsenal legends that come around there and talk sport. But see, yeah, I don't like O'Hara. I don't like the way he talks. I don't like his sensitivity towards Arsenal questions. I just don't like the guy.
No,
I just
he's a
don't like
prick.
the guy.
I agree.
Yeah.
Now, who's the one who does talk sport with him usually? The one who played for Chelsea.
Jason Cundy.
Yeah,
Like
yeah, Conde, Jason Conde, yeah.
That one as well. He needs a good slap in the face and all. But I can't. I think O'Hara is a complete and utter prick, mate. That fella is just.
Conde's a good guy. Conde's a good guy. He just does this once for laughs. Like he does all those antics for laughs. But O'Hara, is his hate. Like it's pure hate. Like from the heart.
His heart. Yeah,
from the heart. Yeah, from the
his
heart.
heart is with it. It's embarrassing.
Oh
the
my
fella is
God.
embarrassing.
From the heart.
He's a top.
I see him in Blue Water a couple of weeks back, and it's safe to say he's got a bit of timber these days. He's got a bit of timber. Honestly, it was on the what do you call it? The menu, the KFC menu. It was on the KFC menu with his bird. I'm not joking. So he's put a bit of timber on recently. That's for sure. So I've seen TJ. TJ's in a hysterics at pretty much everything that we've discussed.
Oh, you guys are cracking me up, man. That's so funny. No, it has to be Jamie O'Hara. Awful. Like Daniel Levy is number one on my not hate list. Like as long as that guy's around, well, we're all right.
Spurs will never be good.
All right.
Yeah. So yeah, you can't hate Kane because he's not around anymore. Dele Alli, nah, it is what it is.
Who's the player you hate the most? Just who's the Spurs player you say you hate the most in the Premier League era, or just despise, whatever you want to say? Is there a player
for Spurs?
I thought Kane because he scored so
Emmanuel Adebayor.
I hated Kane. I hated Adebayor.
Adebayor.
Yeah,
at the time.
Yeah. No, I agree with Tony. Adebayor made me angry, but while Kane was with Spurs, I didn't not like the guy, like on a personal level, but whenever he played against Arsenal, he's an Arsenal killer. That's why I'm afraid of running into him in the Champions League, because then we're gonna lose out freaking 7-2 on aggregate. Like it's gonna be brutal if we run into him.
It's like Borussia Dortmund.
Freaking Bayern coming into the Emirates Champions League nights, and Kane probably scores a brace. Like it's just what happens to Arsenal.
You're playing Europa League though, TJ.
You see what you're saying about Kane? Borussia Dortmund despise Son, because whenever Son has played them, every game he has played Dortmund, he scores. Whether it was at Leverkusen, Spurs, Borussia Dortmund hate Son with passion because he always scores against them. It's the same thing.
But again, let's be very careful with this Champions League stuff, that we're always talking about. I think European football has a downturn right now. Look at Bayern Munich. Look at what they got with Manchester United. 4-3. That was where it ended in. And you guys smacked up Manchester United 3-0. We smacked them up 3-1. See, European football has a downturn right now. Anything can happen right now in Europe. Trust me, anything can happen.
Munich would open any of us two up without a butter of an eyelid, mate.
Your third
but they played a poor Manchester United team, a team you've beaten, a team I've beaten, and completely destroyed them this season. And
the
scoreline, it was 4-3.
I think there was
European football has a downturn. And it's not just Bayern Munich. I'm talking about Barcelona.
I think the Prem is
Real Madrid.
I think the Prem is far and away the best.
But Tony, you know what? Your third favourites, and I've got to tell you, I know you qualify for the Champions League, but really right now you're playing Europa League teams. I mean, PSV,
we could have dealt with
Lens and Sevilla, and a poor Sevilla team right at the moment. And Sevilla, obviously, the hardest of the teams, but you couldn't have handpicked a better group. So I would say you're looking really good to potentially get to the quarters or semi-finals.
They always do, though. Whenever Arsenal get in the Champions League, I think maybe once they've had a hard start. Apart from that, one thing Arsenal have always
you'll
had
be able to
is
rest
this easy
players.
start.
They'll be resting players.
I'm not disputing that. I'm saying it's just mad, though. Arsenal do seem to always get an easy start in the Champions League.
I agree.
I agree.
To be fair, we had one of the easiest groups imaginable last season. Marseille, Sporting
Lisbon. Let me tell you something. Sporting
Frankfurt.
Lisbon and Marseille are better than bloody Lens and PSV. PSV, not only were they missing their two centre backs, but they sold their two best players. So I always knew it was going to be a struggle for them to do anything. I mean, Arsenal could have won that at a canter. They never got out first gear.
Yeah, but Arsenal done it for 21 years out of 22 years in the Champions League. Out of 22 years, I think they had one hard start-up. Apart from that, I don't know, it just always seemed to fall in their place. It was after that, they always used to get a nightmare of a team. It's always been weird the way it's happened with them.
Right. Yeah. I'm gonna chuck this out there now. As I said, we are coming to the end of the show. We're coming to the end of the show.
Yeah, I need to go. Go on.
Who have been Johnny, I'll let you answer this first. This could fester. Who have been the better side over the last decade, Spurs, Arsenal? And I want you to take a few things into account. The squad, just the squad in general. Whose squad's been better? And then you're looking at the success. I mean, do you take league position over trophies? Because they never qualified for Champions League. Arsenal haven't qualified for Champions League for the past 7 years. First season for 7 years. So, who have been the better side over the last decade for you, Johnny?
If you were talking about one team, it would probably be Poch's team. It's very hard. I mean, listen, I think we have been. I think we played up until probably the last 2 or 3 years. I would say probably we've been better overall, maybe potentially. As a one-off, would have to be the year leading up, the year before when we finished second, third, whatever, and got to the Champions League final. That's probably the most impressive team of the 10 years, potentially. I mean, Arsenal have had their moments. Obviously, last season would probably be their highlight of the last 10 years, I would say, potentially.
No.
Their highlight. No?
No.
What would be your highlight, TJ?
Any of the 2 years we won the FA Cup in the last 10, winning stuff.
Okay.
You can pick it. You can pick and
not
choose. Maybe not the COVID season, but maybe not the COVID FA Cup.
But not the last season where you like fantastic until you choked on a crisp.
No.
Yeah, I knew you were waiting to get that in, Johnny. Which is fine, but we've still won stuff. So
no. I'm just thinking that you play better football. What I'm trying to get at here, I know it's been.
We didn't win anything, TJ. So what does it matter?
Technically, Man U had a better season last year than Arsenal.
West Ham had a better season.
Yeah.
No, I wouldn't go West Ham, but I'd say
they won an European title. What are we saying here?
I'll give it that one, but the reason I'm saying Man U is because you both got in the Champions League, but Man U had a little bit of silverware to show. So basically,
we were in Europa last year, but no, I get what you're saying.
Okay.
I thought you played great football last season. So for me,
you did play brilliant.
We did play great football, but again, where did it get us? It got us back to the Champions League, which is where we should be regardless.
Yes,
I suppose
being in the Champions League and being Arsenal, it should be synonymous. It should be an obligation. It's not
like a normal
the fact that we weren't there is embarrassing.
But no one has that privilege. No one has that privilege of that is our place and we have to be there.
No, I agree. We have to work for it, but
real fans with real again, we're the third. We are the third most. See, we're the third most successful club in this country. Yeah, we should be up there with the biggest,
Yeah,
playing
but in
Champions
Europe, you've got to, you're poorer than
Europe, we're
Spurs.
terrible, but we should be.
Spurs have
we
a
should
better
be
record than
competing.
Arsenal
No,
in
no,
Europe.
no.
You
I'm
should be
talking in
competing
respect
every
of
year,
when
is all I'm
when TJ says that we
Tony
ought to be in
Tommy
the
knew this was going to be a
Champions League.
wind-up.
When TJ says that we ought to be in the Champions League, it's a normal thing. Is correct in saying that, because when
The
you're
size of the
the
club.
third most successful, club side in this country, we should be up there with the.
You see, for us, TJ, what will happen is if we ended up finishing third, Spurs fans would turn around and say, we've had a really good season, right? Even if we don't win a trophy, right? I think after the season we had last season, they would say it was a good season because we showed progress. We played great football, even finishing fourth or fifth. I think most fans, if they could see progression, great football, and we were going to have another transfer window and sign more players, and Ange was going to stay. And for the first time in years, we actually had a manager that lasted a full season. We could see progress and be happy with it. Would Arsenal be happy with such a thing? No, because you've been used to success, right? So we have different expectations probably come the start of the season.
I agree.
We would love them. We would love, I'd
rather finish seventh and win the FA Cup.
You'd rather
instead of finish top four.
Yeah.
I'd rather finish seventh and win the FA Cup than finish
all day long. All day long.
Yeah,
all day long.
I just want a bit of silverware now.
It's worth more than us as well. It's worth more for us. I think last season probably top four was worth more than to Arsenal than an FA Cup because they haven't qualified for the because they haven't qualified for the Champions League in so long. So, but I don't care about Champions League. If we didn't qualify for the Champions League for 4 years on the bounce and won the FA Cup, I'm delighted because that's what we need. I think it's something that we haven't won a trophy since 2008, and that's the Carabao Cup in the last 23 years, 46 transfer windows, one Carabao Cup. That is it. But I believe
Cup and Tiger Cup. Don't forget.
Oh, of course. Actually,
yeah, and you was waiting for that one and all, weren't you?
No, I'm sorry. I had that in the chamber, Dan. You're right.
Yeah, fair play, fella, fair play.
Over the last decade, I believe we've had the better side. Other than the last 2 years, I think over the 8 years previous, I think we had the better side all day long. The back four, Vertonghen, Toby, Carl Walker, Rose, Lloris in his prime, Dembele, Ericsson.
Overall,
they still have a cup. When we was at our prime, we still won nothing. And when they was even mid-table, they still won something.
And that's why we should always hate Daniel Levy. That's 500 days without signing. When you're competing for the title for the first time in your history, Premier League history, and you got 500 days without signing. That's why we are where we are. That's why we've won one trophy in 15 years. It's as simple as that. So yeah, Tony.
Yeah.
Who's been more successful over the last 10 years? Got to be Arsenal, right? Because the FA Cup.
Of course, it got to be Arsenal. Come on, man. It has to be Arsenal. We've won FA Cups, within those 10 years. Mind you, we've also won a couple of plates, Charity Shield over the years too. And just last season, we challenged for the title, 5 points away, from winning that title to presumably the best team in Europe. In fact, the best team in the world. Let's be frank with that. Yeah,
probably the best team this country's ever seen.
I'm not sure about that.
Oh, you're going to say the Invincibles?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure about that.
Who's been better? Who's been better?
No, I'm not sure because I'm looking at Fergie. I'm looking at Fergie's reign in Manchester United, and I think that's an epoch on its own. That was a legendary run. Did the 3P. It's won titles for them. Deep history also, and mind you, Manchester City have done this, with lots of money in the pockets. Fergie never did that with lots of.
Yes, he did,
but not this ridiculous kind of millions, right? I mean, we're talking of Grealish. Talking of Grealish, £100 million.
Yeah, but back then, £1 million was like £10 million now. They did have the same sort of power over everybody for a long time. They did.
And United spent serious money.
But you can't take
the day.
But to
you
be
can't
fair, I
take
think
credit
Man
off
United
of it.
created the money they had because they were successful
Yes,
when
they
they didn't
did.
have money.
Yeah, they
When
did.
they didn't have money.
Exactly.
You know,
This is external funding. This is external funding for
But
Manchester
to be
City.
fair, Man United are historically a massive club, so they're always going to have a bit. They're always going to have a bit of money, regardless. Even in the 80s.
Yeah, regardless.
This year, Man City are going to shut them up because this year, Man City are going to win the league for the 4th time on the trot, and they're going to do a back-to-back treble.
But as
I don't think they're
mentioned,
doing back-to-back
you could
treble, but-
argue the best ever
I have
score.
a problem
I
with
think
that
they
because
will.
Liverpool is cooking at this time. See, yeah, Liverpool is
Yeah.
Liverpool is
I was
cooking.
looking at the
I don't
odds.
think so. Liverpool is cooking.
Liverpool was
you know.
cooking when they had 96 and 99 points and still couldn't bloody beat them. And
But
I
let's
was
see.
looking
But
at
let's
the-
see.
City.
But
When I
let's
was
see.
doing the little lineup thing, the little lineup jig I got, the lineup sheet I put on the overlay, it come up with odds for the title this season, and Spurs are full favourites. So you had Man City at 1.5 to 1, so out and out favourites. I think it was Arsenal 4.5 or Liverpool 4.5. The other was 7.5. Then Spurs 26 to 1. We're actually 26 to 1 fourth. So if you've got
We're actually
you got
ahead
a
of
tenner.
Chelsea.
You got a tenner, chuck it on, win the league, £260. So yeah, Chelsea are not.
No.
Yeah, Chelsea and Man United aren't there for
Oh.
probably
Mum,
for good reason.
City,
Hey, it
end
could
of-
be
end
worse.
of the
It
season,
could be worse,
back-to-back
guys. It
treble.
could be worse. You guys could be Chelsea fans. It could be worse.
There you go. There you go. Now that
Let's
is
not
going to
even
be
start that
that
one.
is going to be
Let's
an
not-
interesting
just don't
derby.
start it. Just don't start it.
That is going to be an interesting derby.
Because I'm actually, if anything, if I'm going to be honest, I despise Chelsea more than Arsenal. Why? Because I've got that respect for Arsenal because they made their name for themselves. Yeah. So out of football, whether you hate them, whatever, you've got to give credit where it's due.
This
Chelsea never
season
fought off a
was the
bus.
biggest derby. Chelsea was the biggest derby this season because Pochettino. Simply because Pochettino. That was Arsenal's always a huge derby, and it's our big derby. But for me, that's the big one this season. Poch is going to be very, very interesting. Anyone in the chat, you've got a spare ticket, I'll pay whatever, pretty much.
And we have a worse record with Chelsea.
Oh.
Our
What's
record
that?
with Chelsea, we have a worse record with Chelsea than we do with Arsenal. I think we've won at Chelsea twice in 33 years.
Terrible.
Three
We haven't
times
beat
in 30.
Liverpool just for the FYI at the new stadium. I think
Yeah,
I've always
but
said
that's only 5 years. Chelsea,
I know, but
we've
Liverpool-
only beat them 3 times at their ground.
we're shocking at
30 odd
Liverpool as
years.
well. Shocking at Liverpool as well. I got to tell you,
That'll
no
change.
disrespect to Arsenal, but I believe before the 2 games that Liverpool was going to be the harder game for us, purely based on their attack. Not disrespecting Arsenal, I just thought
Liverpool have got
attack was
dangerous.
You're allowed to disrespect Arsenal. This is a Spurs channel. You're allowed to disrespect Arsenal.
You know, I figured they didn't have a lot up front, and I think if we could hold them, listen, we
Liverpool have.
gave you 2 goals. You can't complain. We gave you a nice own goal and a nice handball. You didn't score from open play. It's a shame. Go and buy yourself a striker, and you're gonna have a team that could win something.
Oh my God!
So finally,
The fact coming out.
this weekend,
That was a good one, Johnny. That was a good one. I have to give it to you.
I'm
That was a
only
good
joking.
one.
this weekend, will the unbeaten record of either team go in the league? So
No.
Arsenal have got Bournemouth.
It's a tough one.
Spurs have got Liverpool. Spurs have Liverpool.
You guys will draw. You get a draw out of that.
I'll be happy with. Let me tell you something. I'd be mighty happy with a draw. Let me tell you.
Oh,
Look, if
Arsenal
you
got
told me
Brentford tomorrow. Arsenal got Brentford tomorrow as well. So
Home or away? Home or away?
Away.
Away.
It's a tough game. It's a tough game, and we're gonna be playing our kids.
Away.
We're playing our kids tomorrow. Like, I wouldn't be surprised at all if we went out. Wouldn't be surprised.
Brentford are not easy when they're at home. They are not.
we're not
an easy team.
actually. Arsenal are properly
They're
unbeaten
playing
this
terrible
season.
at the moment.
Arsenal are properly unbeaten because they beat PSV and won the Community Shield. Because we lost to Fulham and went out the Carabao Cup. So, but in the league, we're both unbeaten in the league, I suppose.
But again, let's don't forget that Everton massacred Brentford just this past weekend.
That I don't
Yeah,
like.
it was-
Tony, I don't like that.
it was
Because that
shocking.
means they're going to be angry. That means they're
They
going
massacred
to be
them.
angry.
No. I don't think they will be angry. I think they would actually want to rest players also.
They've been
How many
Because they've
times
seen,
did they
because
lose?
if Everton,
We're gonna be
if a
resting
team like
players.
if a team like Everton is really putting them, on a spliff, I think their manager would start, rethinking the whole thing and actually try to, keep some players to be fresh for the next game, because of course the Premiership is where they want to really, grab some points. And mind you, by January they won't be with Ivan Toney, so that is a big miss altogether again. So
Huge miss for them.
any point he
Tony,
can be able to gather, he needs to gather it. And I don't think he'll play his full force tomorrow. He might just want to rest in order to grab points in the weekend.
Possible,
Tony
but
is
either way,
huge for them.
Brentford at home are not an easy team to play. I think they lose twice at home last year.
Yeah, they're poor this
Last season.
It's a difficult place.
Tony does make a huge difference because they play direct. Thomas Frank, they bypass the centre midfield. They just hit Ivan Toney, like Sean Dyche at Burnley, like that sort of thing. So without him,
Like Spurs used to do with Kane.
I don't know. I don't know about.
Oh my God! Yeah, you just have to throw that Kane. That's the problem. That's what I'm talking about. You just have to throw that Kane into it.
Of course you do. But it's true, isn't it? It's true. I've got to shoot in a minute.
Shoot, but TJ, Tony.
Hey Johnny, man, it's just nice to meet you.
Johnny.
Tell us, we're gonna wrap up anyway.
Okay.
Where can we find you, Johnny? You're the Twitter man, Johnny. You're the Twitter man.
So Johnny H3232, come in here with the spaces. We normally have them during the week and before the games. If there's any bullshit that comes out, which with Spurs, it's every week. There's some drama that unfolds. And you can find me on Tottenham on Tour, where I'm normally with Brian Daigle every morning, and anger management the day after the game, where we review the game.
Something always happens, as you say. There's always a big news that's released by Spurs. Usually something gets upped in terms of whether it's ticket prices, shirts, hot food, beverages. Something will probably go up. Levy will put something up, so that'll be the next talking point.
Munn will actually reveal himself.
What is he? What is he?
Right now, he's undercover.
Did we employ a spirit? Because I don't know. Yeah, I'm the same as you. Where is this guy?
The main thing that Levy's put up over the years, wherever he's put it up, he's put it right up our backside to the point where literally every Spurs supporter limps or stands like John Wayne. That's where he's put it up.
Right, big up, Johnny. Take it easy, my man.
Big up, Johnny.
Dan, tell me
later on, mate. Speak to you soon.
Later, brother.
Yeah, big ups, everyone.
Tony Claude, great to have you here today, and we definitely have to get you on for the next Arsenal game preview.
Yeah. Thanks very much, man. Thanks very much. It's an honor to come to your show, man. Big ups to everyone. Big ups to TJ too. TJ is also my big friend. Yeah, we do watch alongs together. That's my brother, down there. Dan, it was nice to meet you. It was nice to meet you. And you can see, it's a rivalry down here, but we just spoke like friends. And of course, that's how Tommy brings people together, man. You're a very, very honorable person, Tommy, man. I should give that to you. Very honorable person.
Much love. Much love. I'll try not to be too biased, especially on these shows. But I'm not too biased anyway. I think a lot of the people. The people on here, relatively not biased. I think
you're a very, very fair guy. You're a very, very fair guy. Very fair guy. I've been on these shows with you at least up to 3-4 times now, and you're a very fair person, man. Very fair. Very, very fair. I had to get that out. I had to get that out. I'm sorry.
Tony, I apologize. Did I break up there when I was plugging you? I broke up a little bit, didn't I?
A little bit. But Tony took
apologies for that. But Tony Claude Gunner TV, you're doing well with subscribers now, aren't you? You're doing well with subscribers.
Yeah. I'm pushing it. It's not really that easy, but I'm pushing it. I'm not where I want to be, but I'm pushing it.
Spurs fans, like with TJ, subscribe just to troll them. Go over there and troll them. Subscribe, get over there, have a go.
I love trolls.
Because they get neutral. They get a lot of neutral people in their shows as well. It's not just Arsenal fans either. So get over there. Worst comes to worst, troll them, and it's free to subscribe on all these channels. It's completely free. So make sure you do that. TJ, tell us what you're up to, my man. You're doing so much on your channel right now.
We are right now. Yeah. So me and Tony will be doing a watch along for Brentford, I'm sure, tomorrow. Tony, I should be a little bit more available tomorrow. I'll let you know.
Okay.
And then, yeah, so I have a new partnership with Sarcasm City TV with Flawless over there. We're going to be doing a Manchester United Arsenal show every night, midnight UK, or not every Thursday night, midnight UK, Thursday into Friday,
Wow.
Thursday here in the US. We're going to be doing a show every week. That'll be a lot of fun. And then the American Idiot Show, 9 p.m. UK time every Friday. Tommy, I still got to get you on that show. Dan, I got to get you on that show too, man. Yeah, we've had past guests include obviously Tony. We had Lee Gunner a couple of weeks ago. We had Flawless. We've had a lot of really fun guests on that show. So yeah, pull through. And again, Tommy, thank you so much for having me on. Subscribe to TJ Warren TV. See you later, guys. Thank you.
All good, man. Enjoyed it. Enjoyed having the Arsenal boys on. It was a great chat. I enjoyed it. I hope the viewers enjoyed it at home as well. Dan, you're here, there, and everywhere. You pop up on a lot of other channels yourself. We're doing something in the future. We talk about, sort of enterprising and coming together, but we're getting Danny's own show on this channel for sure down the line. We've already got the Tottenhamhotspurs. We've got the Spurs Down Under boys that come on a Saturday. They do their little pre 3 o'clock kickoff show. And I promise you, it's not just because we've got Ange as our manager. I had this in the pipeline before Ange as our manager. The Spurs Down Under boys, the boys from Oz. So yeah, Dan. Yeah, where can we find you on socials? Where can we find you on socials? Where can we find you in general? You don't do any of that. Man. He keeps himself to himself.
I wouldn't go that far. I mean, I'm what you call, what is it? They call it YouTube whore or whatever, because I bounce off everybody's channels and that.
No, Dan, I was gonna say, I forgot to say, I was a fan before I was a peer, man, and before I even got on YouTube, I knew who this guy was. So it's just like it's awesome to jump on with you, man.
Dan, man, Dan, you have to bounce into my channel too, man. Just bounce down there.
Tell me when, man. I'll happily do it. Tell me when.
All right, man.
But I'll have my own show on Tom's channel soon. I'm getting it sorted in the background with a few people I know from around my area and a few things. And obviously, when I do my own thing on here, love to have you guys on here, and there's plenty of others. And apart from that, yeah, I've been checking up a bit more of what's it called now? X? Is that what they call it now?
Apparently.
I'll be on there a bit more soon. Trust me.
There's going to be fire. If he's on there, there's going to be fire. And I'll tell you what, Tony, you got to get on there too, man, because I've only ever seen you on Insta. Tony's got to get on X.
Tony would cook on formally.
That's where it really kicks off. I'm telling you, but just don't warning in advance. You probably don't take it too seriously. You take it too seriously, that's your own fault. Just pro the fuck out of people. You have a good time. Right. Peace out, everyone. Next show will probably be lunchtime. Thursday or Friday on this channel will be lunchtime. It'll be a solo show, so I'll be able to get through the chat and we can get communicating better. It'll be a lot more interactive. Always difficult, especially when I've got fiery Spurs and Arsenal fans on to read out everyone's chat. So yeah, stay safe, stay free, stay classy, Lewites. Peace out.
Good show.